everyone? Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Welcome, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between. Yes, that's right. You have joined us for a live edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Man, if you are here with us live, then you already know how this goes. But I'll tell you, just in case you're a newbie, we are the show that dives into the catalog and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Van Halen. We do it one track at a time. I am your co-host, Mark Kamara. Joining me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, how you feeling tonight, man? 1 year. We've been doing this for 1 year.
I can't believe it, Mark. Like I said, I thought for sure you would have ditched me by now, probably about 3 weeks in. But yeah, we're still here 1 year later, 50 tracks in. Tonight we're going to be spinning the wheel for tracks 51 and 52. And what I can't believe is all the amazing people that have kind of joined us on this journey, either just listening to the show and commenting along with us, who we're hopefully going to be hearing from tonight, like our good friend Tom Armbruster. Let's bring him in there. See, he doesn't feel tardy. Chaz, he says sit down, Waldo. So we're going to have a whole bunch of comments from our regulars here tonight. I can't wait for all that. And we've got some special guests, Mark. Maybe let's start introducing them and bringing them on the stream.
Yes, we'll do that. But I love how Corey insists that it was going to be me that ditches him, considering only one of us has about 1,000 different podcasts that he does already on top of this one. So we'll just leave it at that. But yes, as you say, we've got guests. We have some regulars. We have actually some of our more well-known regulars joining us on the show today. So I'm not going to introduce them in terms of how much I enjoy them versus how little I enjoy them, because that's just not the case. I love them all equally. That's right. I love you all equally. Thank you for being on the show. So introducing first, I'll just go ahead and say it. Right from the Tom Petty Project, you know him, Kevin Brown is with us. Bring in Kevin Brown. How you doing, Kevin? From Van Halen News Desk, the guy that really kind of helped put us on the charts, as it were. I think it's safe to say that Eric Sinich is joined us with the show, the fan favorite, as always. No offense to Eric, no offense to Kevin, but it's Kelsey Van Halen joining us. Kelsey, the fan favorite, as always. Yes, thank you so much. And of course, not to be outdone, journalist and author Heath Murphy. I think it's Murphy, right? It's McCoy. It's not Murphy at all. Heath Murphy is a guy I used to know back in high school. That is just not even remotely.
And we are off to a flying start.
You both have the Irish stuff going on. You know, they're both Irish names. There you go.
And I tell you what, Mark, I sent out a ton of invites, so we're going to have people dropping in throughout the night. And we got one here now from the Magicians Podcast, the Uriah Heep Show, and now permanent co-host on Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, Scott Askin is dropping by.
Hey,
nice. What's up, Scott?
What's up?
All right.
So this is the crew for now. We're supposed to have one more. Greg Renoff, unfortunately, has the flu and isn't feeling well enough to join us here tonight. But Eric, you're a little under the weather too.
Yeah, I got the COVID. COVID. Wednesday, tested positive for it. I have been stuck in my apartment since Wednesday afternoon.
Oh,
yeah. So here I am, man. I'm here. What's up, Greg? Renoff? Where are you?
It
I'm
is a
sweating,
tradition.
you know?
I mentioned it off camera, but I mentioned it is kind of a tradition for COVID positive people to record on the show, including Corey and myself, and now Eric. So,
Well, I signed the contract. I have to be here. And I did say to Corey and Mark, I could get you guys some serious ratings. I may pass away in the middle of this show. This is going to
stay tuned for that.
So stick around.
It may be the most rockin' show we ever do, but here's hoping. But let's not dwell on death and despair, because this is a show for celebration. As I said, we've been doing this 1 year, so this is our 1 year sort of anniversary party, as it were, and we're gonna give you the show that you know and love so much. We're gonna do it live. So that being said, if you've listened to us whatsoever in any capacity, you know this shit can go off the rails real fast, and that is when we've recorded and edited. So who knows what's going to happen tonight? I am looking forward to it. Corey, as the editor, are you looking forward to just absolute mayhem?
Well, I don't have to edit anything. This is going to be great. We can just drop these as podcasts tomorrow after the fact and be done with it. I don't have to cut out all my stupid bullshit. So I'm just going to be really quiet, and we're going to let all the very smart people who are on the panel here tonight do the talking for me, because we got some real beauties on here. I know, Kelsey, you mentioned everybody's absolute favorite. The world fell in love with Kelsey. Eric is now the resident Van Halen expert because Greg couldn't make it because he had the sniffle. And
because we have now an expert in Van Halen, that legitimizes this podcast. So all of you guys waiting to chime in the comments, ready to tell us how much we suck, well, that may be, but at least we got an expert on our hands. So
that's right.
Bleh.
And you got somebody with a Van Halen bar stool behind you too.
Yeah, you guys at home don't have that.
Take that, trolls.
Yeah.
Pig fuckers.
So it begins.
Yeah, it already begins. But how are each and every one of you? Thank you for joining us for this live show. We know how Eric is. He's holding strong, and we appreciate you. Kevin Brown, how you doing, man?
I'm drinking great beer. I'm happy to be here, and it's great to actually meet some people who I've only heard on my headset so far. So it's awesome.
Nice.
Although I already met Eric, though, and Eric is a fantastic conversationalist, so I'm really looking forward to it.
GP, top Betty, man. Yeah.
Heath McCoy, how you feeling? And I'm sorry that I did not get your last name correctly. That was really dumb.
Is it because of the Dave Sammy thing? Is that why?
Subconsciously, I think it might be. Yeah,
I think so.
I'm not going to say no.
I consider that a microaggression, man. No. I'm doing good. I'm real happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, of course. Fan favorite Kelsey. Kelsey, thank you so much for being here. How are you feeling? And are you ready to rock?
I'm always ready to rock.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. As always, I love being here, and I'm excited to be here with everyone. So,
Right the center square.
That's right.
Hollywood Squares.
I'll try to do it justice.
Which one is our Paul Lind then?
Well, that's not asking.
I mean, that's either really funny or problematic. So I guess that's me. I'll be him.
I hear Jim J. Bullock is going to be here any second too.
Oh, that's Kevin
Jim
Brown.
J. Bullock.
I don't get any of these references.
That's what I was thinking. The old timers, you know.
The old timers
Rewrite
and Mark, the mid timer. It's fine. We'll explain it.
Hey.
We'll have Scott Haskin explain it to you. Scott, how you feeling, man?
Well, I could be your Paul Lind.
Yes.
I'm
There
doing
it
great. Thanks for having me on. I got to say, because a lot of you guys may not know this, but for one, I get to hang out with Corey all the time now, which is fantastic, doing the Backtracks Aerosmith show. But Mr. Mark Kamier is quite a vocalist. You've got a lot of talent, my friend.
Me? Oh,
Hell
go
yeah.
on. I try.
Yeah.
I try really hard.
You just posted a video a couple of days ago, didn't you, Mark?
I did. We just had the Halloween bash on Halloween night over at in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Exit Inn. A group of people put that show together, and I'm lucky enough to have performed at it. Sadly, that might be the last time I ever perform on that stage, as the Exit Inn is on its way out, because apparently, instead of having traditional classic music venues in a town called Music City, It's more prudent to put up condos and apartments and just, just tear them all down, because that's what's important. We have to bring in tourists, the tourists that want to come tour the city and see live music, maybe. I don't know. It's a sore subject, and we're very disappointed. So that's the bittersweetness of it all. But I got to be on a stage that has been shared by many a great artist, and I'm taking it in stride. At least I'm trying to. So yes.
Cool.
Tell you what, we've already got some comments coming in. Mark, you want to read these out?
Okay. From Scott Monroe. Good evening from Maine. It weirdly got above 70 degrees today, and I could barely see the road from the heat coming off. I see what you did there.
I understand that reference. Yeah.
I don't think it gets that warm in Maine. I could be wrong, but I don't know. It seems that doesn't seem right. But I'll take your word for it, Scott.
I'm not in favor of this one at all. See Erickson saying, love the show. Can't wait to break down Pleasure Dome. You get that evil out of here.
Don't even speak it. Do not even speak it.
Yeah, it might have been a jinx, but I'm here for it.
Everybody's loving Kelsey in the center square. I'll take Kevin Brown to block.
Again.
Thank you all for being in the chat and contributing some comments. Share the link around. Get all your friends that are into rock music and Van Halen specifically. Be like, come look at these bunch of fools joined by some really cool people talk about Van Halen. Just wait till they spin the wheel. But before we get to that, Corey, we always like to discuss some Van Halen news. So honestly, I'm asking you because you're good about bringing it to me, but instead, I think I'm gonna go over to Eric from Van Halen News. Hey, Eric, while you're riddled with the COVID, I have to ask, what's going down in Van Halen News these days?
Yeah, I mean, I've been rattling off article after article because I've been just hanging out, and anything that I see that comes up, I just pop it up there. So you're gonna see my name there a few times. Actually, we just put up Rick Beato. Do you guys know Rick Beato? He's
not personally.
He's on YouTube. He's got like 1 million plus subscribers on YouTube. So he just posted a video. He's got quite a few on Van Halen where he breaks down their songs. The one he just put up, he's just asking what is Van Halen's greatest song, which is the timing of it is interesting because the show is all about Van Halen songs. And I wrote in the lead, not even Tom Cruise can make this mission possible. There are so many songs that you can pick, but that's interesting. People are putting in their votes for songs there. The big one this week, though, is Sammy is still trying, man. He's trying to make peace with Alex. He told Eddie Trunk that he has reached out to Alex about a handful of times since Eddie passed. And Alex is just not responding. And Sammy's just not, he's not sure why. He believes it's his book, the book Red. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason. But we don't know why. Alex is just doesn't want to talk to him. And so Sammy is still telling that story of how he wants to at least make peace with Al. I think that the book was a big issue. I mean, there was some stuff in there that, it was. I mean, Eddie wasn't happy, I'm sure, but Sammy says he made peace with Ed, and I don't know. But anyway, you could read that article there. What else? Not much. Oh well, you guys mentioned a couple things. It was a week ago in 1996 that the Best of Volume 1 came out. So I just put up a poll there. The two new songs that they made with Dave, Me Wise Magic, Can't Get This Stuff No More, and it wasn't even close. People, Me Wise Magic got the majority of the votes. I think we got, even as of now, it's close to 3,000 votes. And Me Wise Magic got over 2,100, and Can't Get This Stuff No More got 800 and just under 830, which tells you.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a new Sammy podcast, the Bogus Otis Show, which is cool. So, but that's been pretty much it. Like I said, the big story was Sammy. I don't know. What do you guys think, man? You think Alex should just say what's up to him.
I think sometimes I feel like Alex is, you know how is like the Malcolm Young of Van Halen. You know, you know, like you had the two stars always, but then you always heard that Malcolm was the guy behind the scenes that really ran the show. Sometimes I wonder if that's Alex. You know, everything locked down as it is, and how that they don't honor the legacy as much as they should. Sometimes I wonder if that's all, you know, Alex.
Well, yeah, I mean, Wolfgang has said that as far as any tribute goes, he's leaving it to his Uncle Al to do what he wants to do with it.
Well, Scott says maybe I'll come to Sammy in a dream too. Who knows?
Well, that's the other thing. You know, it's interesting because Sammy says things that are often disputed, or you know, they're fact checked by some, and Jesse Harms played on a lot of Sammy's albums. Jesse Harms was on VOA. That's the album with I Can't Drive 55. And then Sammy got the Van Halen gig. And in the book read, Sammy says that he paid all of his band members, you know, because he felt bad, you know. And Jesse Harms said, and it's in the article, you can read it on VHND, that Jesse's like, I don't know what he's talking about. He never paid us. You know, I mean, he said Sammy was, you know, we're cool. I mean, he said Sammy let him use his house while Sam went out to LA to work with Van Halen and stuff like that. But that happens a lot with Sammy. The funny thing is the years when he's off on years, you know, in concert. It's so funny. You know, like I
think he's off on album sales sometimes too.
1995.
you got to think though, when you read that book though, when you read Red, like he didn't so much stab him in the back, he stabbed him in the front. Like there was he didn't disguise kind of, you know, he really kind of put it all out there. So I could totally see if some of it wasn't entirely accurate, or even if it was, that, you know, Alex might be a little bit pissed off about that and be a bit reticent to get in touch. I understand that, you know, and I'm a Sammy guy, right? So.
Well, yeah, it's not about. I mean, look, I'm a fan of Sam and Dave, man. I mean, this is big business stuff, and when you're writing a book, you know that Sammy was told, look, you know, we gotta. I wonder if Sammy would have written the book if that stuff didn't go down, because that's the kind of stuff that sells books, and when you're writing those books, that's what the publishers want. They got to have something that they could sell the book on. Now, if that none of those chapters on Ed and all that ugly stuff that was in there is not in that book. That book sells maybe half of the copies that it ended up selling. So, you know, Sammy did what he did. It's a decision he made. Yeah, I know he's said in the last year or so that he's had second thoughts about it. I don't get the sense that he would have. I don't think he's apologized. I mean, I think he just that's my version of what happened, and I'm going to put it out there. Usually, that's the kind of stuff that a guy would write at the end of his career when he's not worried about burning bridges. I mean, apparently at that point he just figured, I'm not coming back to the band, so you know, fuck it, I'm putting it in there. And he was hurt by some of the things that happened, but Ed was going through a rough time. I mean, when you're going through a rough period like that, if there was addiction issues there and all that, you know, I don't know. Look, it's not something I would put in a book, but he did it. And if that's why Al's pissed, he's got to, you know, he made that bet. He's got to lie in it. I mean, unless he apologizes and says, look, man, I'm sorry. But he doesn't know why Al's pissed. He said, but then the other problem is he doesn't make it any better when he says, I don't know, Al's got a stick up his ass. That's not going to help.
No.
You know?
No, stick up his ass maybe is like, or, you know, he's in mourning still. And
right.
But you got to say, Matthew Perry can tell you got to say something to get your book sold, even if it's saying some outlandish shit.
Right.
Mark, didn't you take a dig at that douche?
I have taken so many digs at, and I mean, there was a time where I thought maybe Matthew Perry was an okay dude, and now I'm just like, no, this is you got a lot of issues, dude, and I get it. You got to sell a book, but get out of here with that shit. Man.
He forced Valerie to address an issue.
Yeah. So
it's like, you know, do we need to know that shit?
Yeah.
But, it is what it is.
Tom is wondering something here. Maybe Eric can intelligently speculate, but he says, makes me wonder if some of the bad mouthing of Mike in Eruption was put there on purpose.
The bad mouthing of Mike in Eruption, the book?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming.
We're talking about this one, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's the one.
Which, by the way, you can purchase at the Van Halen store. Just saying.
Signed by the author, I believe.
Yeah, I interviewed these guys, man. They're so cool. Brad Talinsky and Chris Gill. It's an outstanding book. But yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Ed had some things to say about Mike that's still just confounding. You know, nobody really knows still to this day why he wanted Mike out, like as far back as like 80 or 81. Like Billy Sheehan is on the record saying, yeah, you know, Ed gave me his phone number. Said, don't, you know, hey.
He took shots at Mike that were beyond the pale too. Like, you know,
it's odd. But
reading somewhere where he said, you know, basically he said Mike couldn't play. And
right.
He wrote all his bass lines and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike can play. Come on, and even his voice. Everyone praises Mike for his voice and being, you know, the background voice of Van Halen. And he said he's just, what did he call him, a foghorn or something like that? And he has no.
Oh yeah.
He took some.
He said like, oh, I could never hear him anyway. I remember him like saying something like that in the book, and I literally was like very surprised with like the stuff he had to say about him. I was like, I didn't think Eddie would say this like about someone in the band, but you never know.
Nobody seems to understand why. And Mike's not going to talk about it. Even Mike said it. If he writes a book, you're not going to read any of that stuff. So Mike takes the high road on that. And yeah, it's weird. We just don't know why. And it's too bad because, you know, for the longest time, you know, for us guys who are older, I've been following the band since, you know, well, 84, 85. And, you know, during the Sammy years, it just seemed like they were just best buds. I mean, at least that was the image that was put out there. And I think it was legit for a while. I mean, Sam and Ed were neighbors. They were, and Sam has even said, you know, Ed was just the sweetest guy. And so even he had to understand. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that Ed said was just when he was in a real bad place. Look, I've been in places in my life where I'm just not doing good, pissed off at the world, and suddenly I just have I find myself having more negative thoughts about people around me and things around me because I'm not happy, you know. And then when you get yourself in a better place, you're seeing the better and the best in everybody else and other things. So I mean, we're all human. I don't, you know, it's and Ed's gone. So what is, you know, what can you say? And again, this is like big business stuff, and you know, there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we'll never know about. But you know, from Ed's point of view, I think it was, you know, Mike had a fourth of the publishing, and that after a while just kind of got on his nerves. You know, they contended that Mike didn't make writing contributions. Yeah, Chaz, you're right. So, you know, I think, and then they was it for 1984? They decided that you know, Mike's not going to get any of the publishing anymore. I can't recall the specifics. But when Mike came back in 2004 for the Sammy reunion, yeah, he had to take a huge cut in order to be on that tour. That's the one when Sammy came back. And hey, you know, look, Mike never contributed to the songwriting, but it's fair to say that, you know, what he contributed, you know, the vocals, I mean, that's part of the magic of Van Halen. So,
well, and the stage show too. I mean, anyone who's seen Van Halen live, Mike Anthony's a huge part of that. His energy, his, you know, just sort of the presence on stage. It's a huge part of that band.
You know, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. I know John Fogerty talked about this multiple times in interviews where in the early days of Creedence Clearwater Revival, he's writing all the music, but his intent was, look, I'm going to give you guys equal money on this, and because I want everybody to get along. And usually in the beginning, that's that thought, like all for one, one for all. But then as time goes on, there are going to be people who are like, hey man, I'm in this fucking studio for, you know, 3 straight days writing music, you know, and so-and-so's off, you know, just doing whatever. I mean, that's not Mike's fault. Michael Anthony is just, look, you it is what it is. But and even I don't think Michael Anthony would have at any time said, "Look, if that's what you want, man, that's cool. You could split it up differently." I don't know.
Now, Scott, you follow a lot of bands. You live in Las Vegas. This is completely unique to Van Halen, right? No other band ever has infighting.
Oh, never, never, no. And all the bands just say, we'll split the publishing evenly, and it's never going to change. And I mean, you look at what the Beatles did, and the Beatles were Lennon and McCartney. Oh, Harrison, and then there's that one Ringo song on every album. It's a tough thing because I always say that regardless of who wrote the basic tracks of the song, everybody puts their stamp on it when they record it. Even if they go to him and say, here's how we like the bass line to go, or here's what we want the drums to do, everybody puts their own unique stamp on it. And I feel that everybody should have a part of it, whether they want to split out the percentages differently than, maybe not evenly, but everybody's a part of every song that gets recorded. It's just that way.
Yeah. I just saw the interview with Bono on Stephen Colbert. And there's a band who's from day one. They're still together. Nobody's ever left. It's that's rare. That's rare.
Super rare. Yeah.
And they're all still kicking, which is even more rare for a rock band with such longevity. So
knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. Kudos to you. I mean, look, Bono's had some close calls, that's for sure, with like his injuries off, outside of the band, but still, that man's gonna be like Keith Richards, just gonna live forever for the nuclear holocaust, and it'll be.
I thought you were gonna say Heath Murphy.
We don't know what happened to Heath Murphy, long gone. But Corey, though, should we? I don't know if we should do it because we have a poll that we could talk about, but a lot of the comments come from the very people in this room.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's prudent for us to read them, or if we just ask them point blank, like,
are we just living in a vacuum here?
Well, tell you what, I'll give you the poll results, and we talk to everybody about what their thoughts on All Mine were. But for the poll results, 78.2% what dreams are made of, 21.8% this dream is over. So I'm surprised. I was expecting into the 80s for positive, so it kind of surprised me a little bit.
So which one of you did it?
And those are badass lyrics from Sammy, okay?
Yes, they are. Yep.
There it is. That's Eric Sinnich saying it.
Lyrics, okay? Yeah. No, straight up, man. Those are some good lyrics.
They are. Yeah. But they're so goddamn earnest. I feel like we're talking about Bono. I think he's trying to be Bono in that song.
A year after the Joshua Tree album, right? That came out.
There are worse people to be.
This is true. When we did the Stay Frosty episode, we talked about that was Dave's take on religion almost, right? Lots of religion in there.
Yeah,
this
100%.
was Sammy's take on religion. And I kind of felt like you get such a capsule of their different styles there. With David's all tongue in cheek, and you're like, what is he on about? You got to think about it a little bit, and it's witty and it's funny and weird. And then Sammy's was just very straightforward. You know exactly what he was talking about. There was some killer lines in that song though, for sure. I gave it a Dreams Are Made Of, but barely.
Yeah, I was about to note you did vote upwards, but only by a hair. But I'm curious though. Let's see, Kelsey, what do you think of Mine All Mine?
Well, it's not one of my favorites on that album. I definitely think there's better ones, but I agree. I like Sammy's lyrics, and but yeah, I wouldn't say it's like if I was going to talk about that album, I wouldn't talk about that song, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
It's fair. Also, whose point of view I don't think we got. Scott Haskin, do you have any thoughts on Mine All Mine?
Yeah, I think it was one of the songs that if there had been a third option, I would have gone for it. And this is, again, coming from the most medium Van Halen fan who probably belongs in the bottom center square. It was an okay song. It was one that I didn't dislike it, but it didn't particularly strike me as one I would think, I really want to hear the song again. I kind of feel like I experienced it.
Yeah. That's fair. There are a lot of those we have found going through this journey, at least for me, where I thought, oh, this will be an easy win. But it's like, no, these were not easy wins, and some of them weren't wins at all. So I definitely understand you in that. But someone who said they had so much to say about this song was Kevin Brown. Yeah, you're grinning. What more could you possibly add to what you already did on Twitter?
Well, I won't go into it too deeply, but there is definitely sort of a fairly deep ontological discussion that Sammy's having in that, which is super interesting. If you're into sort of theology and religion, it's very, very interesting the way he's written that. Oh, yeah. But what I was going to say is I think one of the things about that song that I always liked right away is OU812 gets some stick because of the keyboards, and they went really heavily into that. That's the one song of that album I think balances the keyboards against the guitars best. It's one where it fits really well and they've used them really tastefully rather than it being, too much or too little. So that I always love that song. It's one of the first albums that I got into with Van Halen, and so it's got a special place in my heart. So
they played that on the Balance tour. Mine, all mine.
Cool,
and it's cool.
Well,
and then the back on the big screen, you see this dude surfing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's very Sammy.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that alone should get you guys to be buying up all the tickets for a Sammy show, because you get to see surfing on a screen. I don't want to see that. I do. I want to see that while he's blaring "I Can't Drive 55" in my face. But that's just me. You guys know I'm pro Sammy.
Well, I know we don't have to ask Eric. I know he voted. This stream's over. He has on every single Van Halen song we've done.
There's not is there a single song you would ever downvote?
Let me think now.
He did admit he would have downvoted How Many Say I?
Yeah, I downvoted it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, Pleasure Dome. I but to each his own, man. Funny. I remember back when that album came out, my brother's girlfriend was playing it in her car, and she goes, "I love this song." But that seemed like a song that was an instrumental that it just didn't feel the Sammy's lyrics just didn't vibe with it.
Yeah,
a little forced
as a drum solo.
But having said that, I could sit and I can listen to it. It's not like I'm skipping over it. So I'm trying to think.
Now, when you had a girlfriend in the car, when you had a girlfriend in the car and she said she liked Pleasure Dome, you made her walk the rest of the way home, right?
Get out.
By the way, I jumped on Twitter and I supported Corey with the what was the Dave lyric? Night and shining pickup truck.
Night and shining pickup
banger.
I said, Corey, you can be my knight and shining pickup truck anytime. People were like, "What the fuck's going on with that?" No, but there are songs that I will skip over only because I've heard them a zillion times, and working in radio, I played them. I mean, "Running with the Devil" is just a brilliant song, but I played it every night on the radio. So I would skip it. Like Van Halen 2, I love, because a lot of those songs, with the exception of "Dance the Night Away," it got a lot of airplay. However, I love that song. So there's certain songs that you hear a lot that you never get burned out on. But I am. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to hate on Van Halen.
That's the book you want to join.
But no, there are songs I'm burned out on. I'll put it down. All right, you got two. You got How Many Say I, and you got Pleasure Dome. All right.
I can add. I've got one. Ooh, 1 foot out the door, right there.
Wow.
Take that one out.
1 foot out the door.
I've listened to Fair Warning a lot. To be fair, like that's my favorite album. But like that song, I'm like, oh my god, everything else is so good on this album.
I agree on that one too.
Yeah. Right.
I love that song.
Hey. It just doesn't fit in like with the album. That's it. Like but whatever.
One of their biggest hits, "Pretty Woman." I don't like "Pretty Woman."
Wow.
I just don't like the song. I mean,
word. I think Eddie's tone on that though is magnificent. Like his tone on it, like he did it perfectly.
But on the reverse,
spanked.
Fairly the line, and rightly so. And rightly so.
Yeah. On the other end of it is, I love "Dancing in the Streets," their version, and a lot of people don't like it.
On the flip, I don't like "Dancing in the Streets," but I like.
Oh, it's a banger.
That's one of the few Dave songs I'd vote down, probably, because "Dancing in the Streets." I don't like what they.
Not surprised. Yeah, most people do.
Even Alex and Eddie were like, we can't Van Halenize this. Right when they're doing that when David Lee Roth first pitch dancing in the streets, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what to do with this. So they compromised and did Pretty Women. And eventually, when they had to fill songs for Diver Down, they said, okay, well,
their version's the only one I can listen to, but that's just me.
Me too.
You know, like the Mick Jagger, David Bowie version.
Oh, I love that one too.
That video.
I went as
when I came on the show last time.
My friend and I went as Mick Jagger and David Bowie one Halloween, and from that video, I had like the lab coat and everything.
That video is neck and neck with the Billy Squire prancing around in the pink tank top. Right there.
I like the shredded version of that song, and if you don't know what that is, just YouTube Dancing in the
what
Street
version?
Shredded with David Bowie and Mick Jagger.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I'm glad someone knew what I was talking about. Yeah, go just look that up, you guys, and enjoy if you didn't know what that was, and enjoy the rabbit hole you will go down.
Oh boy,
that one. But, with that being said, well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, look, that song's not going to be everyone's favorite. Fine, you know.
I'd rather hear Kelsey sing it than
Hey,
Mick Jagger.
There we go.
Hey.
Speaking of music, Mark, we're 36 minutes into a live show?
I was gonna say.
Yes, and look at this round table that we've assembled. So of
look what I
course,
brought.
it was going to and there it
Hey,
is.
All right.
There it is.
So
The
now,
wheel isn't real. The wheel isn't real.
it's all an illusion. But no, there is the infamous wheel. We bring it up all the time because still people think that we're full of shit, but there it is. It's right before your eyes. We would spin it.
Look at that sucker.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone can see on the practice spin tonight, we spun Unchained, which would have been perfect.
I know.
It's gonna if we don't spin it again tonight, that will be very sad. And it's aha, yes, it does exist. You're right. It is so suck it, Santa Claus. This is real and you're not. But
why is every other song Pleasure Dome?
Who did that? They put that in there. It's weird.
I need help when we do Pleasure Dome. I need help, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other people on here. We got enough hands, I think, to cover Pleasure Dome. But Mark, let's do some manifestations. One of the 7 of us should call their shot here tonight, right?
Well, chances are one of us is going to call their shot.
Look what you did to poor Tom.
Well, Tom, Santa's real in your heart. And that's the important
Shut up,
part.
Alan. We're not doing Pleasure Dome.
We might, Alan. We might. If the wheel wants us to have a very entertaining show, because I certainly do. But before we get into the spinning, we have to ask, because we do it every time. It's time to manifest. This is a live show. We all want to hear something in particular. I would imagine so. So I want to hear it. We're going to start with Scott Haskins. Scott, you're here with us. We appreciate you. What song on this particular spin, this first spin, mind you, do you want to manifest and bring forth that you just really want to talk about?
Again, the most medium Van Halen fan, I don't know that many of their songs. So I think I'm up for anything.
Up for breakfast, you said?
Up for breakfast.
We've already done that one.
We already did it. Damn. Oh, I don't want to hear that either.
And I don't think I'm going to win.
Well, there you go. That's a good.
I'm good with anything that we pick, especially Pleasure Dome. I kind of feel challenged now.
All right. Scott takes the coward's way out. How about Heath McCoy? What do you want to hear?
Same as last time. There's been hardly any. I think only one Diver Down spin, and it's such an underrated record. I would love to hear Diver Down, and if I picked one, it'd be Full Bug. Because for all their deep cuts, I think that's like one of their best songs. I love it. And I would dig Big Bad Bill because I think that'd be fun. But Full Bug.
That's a good one. And everybody watching right now, give us your choices. What do you want to hear tonight? Chaz already chimed in. Little Loss of Control.
Yeah.
Man, I'd be on board for that.
There you go.
Yep.
Kelsey, do you have a particular one you'd love to hear tonight?
Is this all the stuff we haven't done yet? This whole wheel?
Correct.
Okay, I would definitely love to hear Pound Cake. I could go off about that song. Girl Gone Bad, if you guys haven't done that yet.
Yep.
I love Girl Gone Bad. That's like one of Eddie's best performances in my opinion. I could go off about that song too. So those are my 2.
So there you have it. We are manifesting a fuck song.
Full bug is a full bug, I would say
Full bug.
as
Little
well.
bug, little guitars, maybe.
Oh, little guitars, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
We'll get the intro too if we spin that one. So
Yeah. So,
Yep.
Eric, do you have one? And you can't say any of them. It's like I'm gonna challenge you to go ahead and Scott gets a pass, but you don't. What do you want to manifest tonight? Are you gonna call your shot?
Well, as you know, I did call my shot on this program, and now that it's video, we're gonna have to reveal the secret. What I do when I manifest is I wear these glasses, right? And I do take a sip out of my Van Halen mug, which, by the way, you can purchase at Van Halen store. That's vanhalenstore.com for all your Van Halen needs.
Perfect.
Okay. Now, dance the night away.
Yeah.
Put it down in the books. Put it down in the books. There you go.
I would
I'm
be
not
the
taking these
best-
off until that song
his
is
shot.
You heard it right here. He's calling his shot. He is pointing outwards. He is looking for a dance the night away. However, he might be thwarted because Kevin Brown's going to shoot his shot. Kevin, what song do you want to hear?
If we're just doing the first spin, 5150, baby.
Ooh.
I called it last time, and I want to hear it again tonight. It's one of my favorite songs, not just Van Halen song, my favorite songs of all time. So
I feel the confident energy from everyone tonight. So I think we're gonna get probably at least one of those that they guess, unless someone throws in a curveball, which I think my partner Corey Morissette might do. What are you manifesting, Corey?
Well, first of all, both Kelsey and Kevin stole my answers because I thought for the live show we want to do a huge song. The two songs I think that were most requested or most anticipated on the show are Pound Cake and 5150. So I'd really love to get one of those. Let's go through some of the listeners right now. Alan wants to hear Where Have All the Good Times Gone from Diver Down. I think that would be an awesome choice.
Yep.
We have I'm the One,
Nice.
right? I'm the One. I think would be
favorites.
perfect. Everyone's loving Kevin. Look at that. Yeah, Kevin. See, everyone loves 5150.
Nice.
Kevin is not wrong. That's the first time he's ever heard that. And then Tom, 5150 is the tour shirt with the Boys in Straight Jackets. That's absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll kind of put a chip on each one of those because I'd love to hear those. But I've been calling for this one for a while. I would love to hear about it later.
Yes.
Yes.
None of those choices are bad at all. So it's kind of hard for me to. But honestly, look, one of my favorite Van Halen songs. My favorite we still haven't done, but one that I've been asking for a while because it just puts me in like the best mood. It puts me in the Van Halen mood. I really need to hear it. I really want to talk about Ain't Talking About Love. Absolutely just want to hear it. It might sound like an obvious choice, but sometimes the obvious answers are the right ones. So I wouldn't be mad about it. Wouldn't be mad about 5150 either. Pound Cake, any of them. I mean, anything from Diver Down because, we need to get on that. But it's not up to me. It's not up to Corey. It's not up to any of us. It's up to the fickle wheel. So we'll see how this first spin goes. Corey, when you are ready to prime this thing and get it going, it's time to listen to some Van Halen.
Kelsey, pick a number between 1 and 10.
Oh no. 6.
Okay, that's how many times I'm going to shuffle it here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. None of you can blame me for this.
All right.
Disclaimer.
Here we go.
Here we go. Round,
Oh.
Okay. Oh no.
Wow.
Oh.
Now, this is
All
interesting
right.
because they removed a different kind of truth from streaming services, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
I
I
still
heard
have
that.
tattoo.
All right.
Did we ever figure
Do
out
they?
why they did
Weird.
that?
Yeah, that's a
I don't
great
know
thing to talk about. What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell are they doing? But
Seriously.
yeah. Spotify
Yeah,
and Apple Music doesn't have it anymore.
What if you play it off of YouTube? Are you able to do that through this feed? Do you have to?
It should, yeah, but I do
Oh,
have.
will it get taken down though? It wouldn't get taken down, would it?
Well, I'm hoping the whole feed doesn't get taken down at some point here. 'Cause,
Yeah, really.
We're going to be playing music, but we're going to be breaking in a lot, right? You guys will be waving. We're going to break in like we normally do. So, Tattoo, let's go around the horn. What are your feelings about this? This was the first single off A Different Kind of Truth in 2012, the big return of David Lee Roth and Van Halen. Let's start with Eric.
Tattoo, a really good third single. Shouldn't have been the first. Blood and
Mhm.
Fire should have won. She's the Woman.
She's the Woman. Yep. And I would have put She's the Woman one.
Mid-tempo. Yeah,
Mhm.
mid-tempo. Not sure why they decided it. I don't agree with the haters of this song. It's a cool tune. It's it was odd because after all these years, we're waiting for Dave to be on another Van Halen album, and this was the first single. Strange, but yeah, man, it's a cool tune. I just don't agree with the choice of single orders on that. I wouldn't have not released it as a single.
It's one of the songs from the 70s, right? That they reworked.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of you can sort of sense those almost, right? Those ones they feel like early Van Halen riffs. You can really kind of hear it.
Kevin, any thoughts on this one?
It's one of again, it's sort of a middle Van Halen. It's not one that I listen to a ton, but I would never turn it off if it's on. It's okay, you know.
Oh, fair enough. Heath, first impressions of this song. Do you have any?
I love it. I've always thought I don't understand all the hate this song gets. I mean, it's not even probably in my top 5 on A Different Kind of Truth, but I really think it's a great song. Really great, clever lyrics, catchy chorus. I don't really understand because it got so much hate, and I don't really understand it. Never could understand it.
This should make for an interesting conversation.
The bar was set so high,
Yeah.
so high that album that everybody was expecting.
Yeah.
Everybody was expecting this mind-blowing song.
Well, sure, and that can be. You kind of have to expect that from the super fans, especially like anticipating an album like that, a reunion, as it were. So yeah, I get it. Kelsey, do you have any first impression thoughts on Tattoo?
I'm gonna say basically the same thing I said earlier. There's other ones on the album that I would rather talk about, but I don't dislike it. I just don't really listen to it that often.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Star Wars came back? That last trilogy. The expectations were so high.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing that first one. Yeah, right. I remember seeing that first one. I'm like, that was freaking cool, man. I loved it. I'm a Star Wars fan, not a fanatic. But then I listen to all these podcasts of the fans, and they're like, "This is what the hell are they doing?" Like,
it's a good thing Sean Geek is not on the show right now. That would spin off into a tangent.
Where are those two knuckleheads? Why aren't they here?
Sean was doing something with family this weekend. He's going to try and hop on a little later, though.
Cool.
And Todd, he said he would be here, but hasn't shown up yet. Typical Todd fashion. He's fashionably late, but Tom hasn't warmed up to Tattoo yet. We'll see if his opinion changes after we spin it here tonight.
Yeah.
Chaz loves Tattoo. They played it in his band. That's awesome.
Nice.
Ray says, Different Kind of Truth is a terrific album. Great songs. Tattoo should not have been the single. There, we're all in agreement there. Mike enjoys Tattoos. Don't agree with the haters either. There you go.
Oh, Mike Green.
Mike Green says, it's really grown on me since Corey mentioned it. It's moving up on my faves. Good man. Yeah, mine too, actually. I love this record. So
there we go.
Mm-hmm. Can't believe they removed it.
Yeah.
I know.
I was like heartbroken. I was like, wait, what? Because I love You and Your Blues. That's a great song.
It is a great song. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that one's gone.
And I've got the CD somewhere. I've been rummaging around in my garage trying to find it because I don't listen to CDs anymore. I got vinyl or I got streaming. So once I find it, we'll be able to cover the rest of A Different Kind of Truth. But Tattoo, I do have here. What do you say, Mark? Should we give it a listen?
We should. This is my. I have not listened to this song since it first came out, and I do not remember it at all. That should tell you how I felt about it at the time. But so I'm actually looking forward to being either very pleasantly surprised or just very meh, as the haters might suggest. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, here we go. This is Tattoo from A Different Kind of Truth.
Tattoo, tattoo.
They want you to be sure you know what song you're listening to right off the bat. I
just in case you forgot.
In case you forgot, or in case you don't have like the cover near you or anything, or if it doesn't show up on your stereo or whatever you're listening to. Like, by the way, this song is Tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay. We got it.
Remember Clapton's "It's in the Way That You Use It" right
Yes.
away.
Yeah.
It's in the way that you use it. Ah, there we go. There are lyrics.
think that
Diamond
huge
one.
Well, we hope those are the correct lyrics.
First, one of the things I picked up on too is that fucking huge pick slide that Eddie does. Pick slides were so overdone in the hair metal days. Everyone was doing them every verse and every chorus. But even he just makes that sound cool as well. It's insane. It's just so cool.
Look at this, Mike throwing shade at Mark off the bat. Really surprised Mark didn't pick something from Van Halen 3.
And he knows why.
I think I would have been happier if they would have played even like a video game sound or just something other than announcing the song would have been better. But I love how heavy it comes in after that. That's a really good full sound after that.
That is a good start. So I'm right away. I'm pleasantly surprised, but I have to poke a little jab at the that little vocal intro. But that being said, at least the harmony is tight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
I got Elvis on my elbow when I fix Elvis chops.
So I think Heath, are you a drummer as well? I think there was someone else who's on the.
I'm a drummer.
Yeah. I don't know if you feel the same, but I always feel that Van Halen are at the best when Alex is really just sitting in the pocket. Yeah, he's just letting that big fat beat down, and he's not playing too much. He's not getting in the way because just lets those guitars ride over that backbeat. It just drips with like sleaze, right? So
absolutely,
that groovy.
That Philly came into it with. Even I was like, oh,
Alex is very groovy.
Yeah.
And lyrically, this is awesome. I got Elvis on my elbow.
Yeah.
When I flex, Elvis talks.
I think it's clever. It's so clever.
Mark, I'm sure you have thoughts.
I do, but I don't know how to express them. Well, yeah, all I was gonna say is, I mean, you could probably cover that up pretty easily, but you do you. But we're not here to talk about the problematics of Elvis. It's fine. We'll move forward.
All right.
One of Dave's greatest quotes. If you want to make sense of my lyrics, you need a bong, a thesaurus, and a driver's side airbag.
Word.
Amen, brother.
Got who girls on the back of my leg. Ain't she who was when I walk? Sweet cherry red, stream electric green.
I mean, why else would you get hula girls on your leg unless you actually want them to hula? Yeah, of course. That's obvious, Dave.
I like.
Well, this is obviously older Dave because those legs aren't toned, right? There's a little jiggle to them to make him hula, right? So
I remember, an interview with Dave or something, because obviously he did the ink tattoo thing. He had his own tattoo company for a while there, and speaking cherry red, electric green, purple mountains, all that kind of stuff. Those are actually tattoo colors, I guess. Like he was actually really getting into tattoo culture then, and was incorporating that stuff.
Oh yeah, he went all in on that.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, man. I remember the first time I saw that on his back, I thought that was photoshopped. I'm like, nah, and no, it wasn't photoshopped. Yeah.
So lyrically, Eric, this is all new, right? Because I think the 77 version was called Down in Flames. Is that correct?
Right. Down in Flames. Yeah, this is totally revamped lyrics.
Okay.
And this is Dave is just clever with his lyrics, man. Mouse wife to mom shell and the time it took to get that new tattoo. It's similar to what was the one you guys were talking about? By the time dreams come true, I'm no longer me. And it's just about people changing. And in this case, it's this shy housewife, and all of a sudden she's becoming a bombshell, getting a tattoo, and she's letting loose whoever the husband is. Look out!
Look, I love that key change too. Like I said, when you go back and think about Van Halen, the way he was writing, because he was so clearly influenced by Billy Gibbons in a lot of ways, with that, especially on the blues side. That key change is totally ZZ Top, right? Like it's legs, it's the same thing where he's just that big step up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When people walked into Dave's tattoo shop, was there somebody there saying, "This is a tattoo shop"?
This is a tattoo shop. This is a tattoo shop. Like every time you open the door, it's like ding, ding, ding. This is a tattoo shop.
The Raw Show is one big ad for the tat cream. There you go.
Yeah.
If they would have kept the title Down in Flames and somebody would have said Down in Flames, that kind of would have been badass, right? To say that at the beginning of the song, especially if it was done with a little bit of an evil voice, but just, tattoo.
Tattoo.
All right, let's keep it rolling.
His Majesty, you will talk to me. Swap meet Sally, tramp stamp cat, mouse wife to mom shell in the tyrant took to get that new tattoo. Tattoo.
What's a mousewife?
Mousewife is a shy
Mousy
housewife.
wife.
Like a
Mouse
mousy
wife,
housewife?
Yeah.
Perfect. I
Doesn't,
love that
doesn't
lyric.
talk, doesn't say anything, doesn't want to cause any trouble.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden she gets a tattoo.
She gets a flaming
Fuck out of
dragon
my
over
way.
her back,
I'm in
and
charge.
she's a mom shell.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right?
I see.
The whole reference to trap stamp. I have a question. Maybe did that originate with Wedding Crashers? That's the first time I ever heard about the trap stamp. You know the movie.
Oh no, that was long before that.
Oh, was it? Was it before?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the first time I ever heard of it.
It's kind of a, I don't know, maybe because I live in the South and tramp stamps are, well, they're everywhere. And so I guess I was just attuned to that particular lingo a little earlier than I probably should have been. So yeah, I can confirm that terminology was around before that movie.
So here's Tom saying Dave's cock of the walk attitude is all over the vocal, which is both good and bad. I think it's all good.
I think it's good.
I think it's all good too. Yeah,
At the
man.
moment, it's all good, but I think I understand where Tom might be coming from with this.
I don't want Dave any other way than just I'm the shit. Look out! Nobody's better than me. He's got the biggest ego in rock, and that's what I want. That's the way I like it.
I don't want Dave singing When It's Love. I want Dave singing
Right.
Wife to Mom Shell, you know?
He does have like just the cockiest strut, you know, just the head shaking back.
Eric, would you agree on his re-recordings though?
Horrible.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you cut out.
I'm sorry, I can't comment.
The
No
feed's
comment.
real bad.
I won't answer that question.
I like them, but they're not. You know, his voice is not what it was. And it's you know, I can't live in fantasy.
But the confidence hasn't gone away. I'm just saying.
But the confidence hasn't gone away. The character and his voice, and I got to tell you, the little things like when he did on "You Really Got Me," it's just the little things he does. This is why I love Dave. And he at the very end, he says, "Oh, you got me," you know, and he just throws in those little things. He's got the sense of humor. He's got the style. It's him. So I can't. I'm not. Does it suck? I mean, I know, Mark, you don't like it at all. You're hearing like that it's weak, and
he just sounds tired. He just sounds
tired.
So tired, and it's like, did no one just tell him, "Hey, you don't have to, just don't do that. Just don't. You're cool. It's fine."
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
No, go ahead, Heath.
Well, I agree. And you know, I'm the biggest Dave fan, but I don't see the point. Like, why come out with these songs, re-recordings of old Van Halen songs that are amazing? It's sort of versions that can't help be inferior. Not just because Dave can't do it as much vocally anymore, but also because who's gonna live up to the original Van Halen sound, especially this. And the production of Ted Templeman, even like how are these gonna why do this? It just seems
my whole thing was, who is this for? Is he trying to prove something? Because if he is, I don't think he's doing it. And
that's the question everybody has.
Yeah, and so it's like I don't know who this is for exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's neither here nor there. That's a digression, but still.
Let's save some material for episode 2 because we're still on episode 1. Let's just go through some viewer comments here. Scott says, "I enjoy hearing Ed's backing vocals in this section." Absolutely, yeah. Chaz says that the trip stamp, I think he meant tramp stamp lyric, is hard to sing while playing. I imagine it would be, yeah. So, And Chaz, tasteless to call it Roth Lives or Roth Live and position it as Van Halen free, yeah. And like you said, like. It can't help but be inferior because it doesn't matter how good your band is. It's not Van fucking Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep rolling.
Show me your dragon magic. So autobiographic. Best believe that needle hurt you. As to see these triple colors that follow one of your false versions.
Ah, come on, Mark. You gotta love
No,
Mark.
honestly, I'm not laughing at the lyrics. I'm laughing at this sounds like Dave's audition to do movie trailer voiceovers. And I'd buy that for $1.
In a world where Mousewife turns into Mom Show.
The needle won't hurt you. Best to see
Rated
these
R.
true colors.
Remember, Mark, we talked about Dave and his wheelhouse. This is Dave's wheelhouse right here, right?
Absolutely. And
And he doesn't own a wheelhouse. It's all good. He can sing anything. He can sing the phone book, but Dave's in his wheelhouse here, and I think sounding pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
just
the
spoken
that
into
need
rooms.
will hurt you. That needle hurt you. Huh? Needle?
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, he slipped into Meatwise Magic.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good comment, yeah.
It's very clever.
Hey, I would be more than happy to get a Buddhist riff in my inner ear anytime. A Buddhist riff.
Oh, here's a little more Diamond Dave for you.
To make you think, why is the crazy stuff we never said? Poetry in it, speaking they were red. Explode pay, purple mountains, majesty. Show me you, I'll show you. Swamp meat salad, crab Snapchat. Now swag to bombshell in the time it took to get that new tattoo. Tattoo.
All right. Tom agrees. Dave's wheelhouse low and slow. Yeah, that sounds about right. Especially in 2012.
Yeah.
Listen to how he did Panama on the Tokyo Live record. Oh, my God.
I'd rather not. I will say, I really like that line, though, that here's the secret to make you think, why is the crazy stuff we never say poetry and ink? That I like, because that's very true in a lot of...
Absolutely, yeah.
Mark, you're coming around. Mark, you're coming around.
Look, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take that because I've been very vocal in going against Corey's whole notion of everything Dave says is absolute poetry. It's like
I didn't say
not
everything.
You pretty much have said everything.
98%.
That's a lot, and I'll be the 2%, or I'll highlight the 2% that's not.
Dave never
This
put the
isn't
cream in
Dave
my coffee.
This isn't Dave cramming in the lyrics either.
No,
Yeah,
no.
he does that a lot, these days, and that's great lyrics. But then he tries to jam too much in, and it's sort of it's clunky,
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah.
word. Yeah. All right. Here's a little more magic for you.
Sexy dragon magic. So very
I know that when I'm gonna go get a giant dragon tattoo on my back, I'm gonna say to the artist, you know what? I want some of that sexy dragon magic. And if you don't give me sexy dragon magic, then I'm out of here.
Exactly.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
Dave said that. You got to know he actually said that.
But it always reminds me, though, the way he sings "Sexy Dragon." When he sings that, it just reminds me of John Lovitz in The Wedding Singer. It's got the same sort
You
of.
know, everybody.
It's so corny. I don't know.
Ladies
It's
night.
just that one line, right?
I'm quitting the podcast. I can't go on. John fucking Lovitz, Kevin, really?
Hey, do not talk shit about John Lovitz. That
Listen
man's
to
a
the
legend.
intonation.
Have you ever heard John Lovitz perform Rebel Yell? It's fucking great.
No.
I've never heard that. No, I got to check that out.
Look it up, you guys. It's great. He even dresses like Billy Idol. That's not great, but the singing is great.
All right. Tom says, I want to listen, watch the Tokyo show for the band, but don't want to hear Dave. Dave does have some decent tracks on the like you listen to like Chinatown and stuff like that. He does that really good actually on the Tokyo Dome album. But yeah, the older stuff like Panama just does not age well. And then Chaz says, these are great lyrics. Different Kind of Truth truly had some of his best work as a lyrical gangster.
Totally. I agree. When it comes to Tokyo Dome, it's a travesty that the only live album that ever came out with Dave is that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you go back to what they were doing during the Fair Warning tour, and I mean, it's mind blowing how great a live album could have been. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, I digress.
You know, there was quite a conversation on our Twitter a couple of weeks ago where guys were saying like Dave was never a good live singer, and just from what I've seen, like I've never seen him live, unfortunately, when Dave was singing, but you look online, obviously there were times he was a great live singer.
Totally.
He was a great front man.
Great
That's what I
frontman
would
as well,
say,
yeah.
for sure.
No, if you listen to the first Van Halen tour when they were opening for Sabbath there, like he's killing it. Like he's and in the screams and everything. I mean, he's killing it on that. I think he gets lazy. I think he actually gets lazy, didn't take care of his voice.
And drinks.
Yeah, drank his face off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, none of
I think that was the No, you're okay. I just was gonna say I think that was mostly the issue is he drank a lot, like the US festival. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, for the US festival, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is if he was relatively, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like that's what I think his biggest, like he had a great voice and he could use it. It's just when he wanted to, and like if he drank too much. So,
Scott, what is your take on David Lee Roth as a singer?
The live clips I've heard from him are not too bad. I've not seen that many. I think he has a good voice. I think that he was really in his wheelhouse with this band. I think this is the kind of stuff that he's suited to do. I don't know that I could hear him doing anything outside of this kind of music, but I like the way his voice sounds on this song. I think it's very strong.
Maybe missing some screams, though. The "Got a Hold on Me" line really shows how Dave's early scream is missed.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's.
Listen to Van Halen 1. He's screaming all over that thing.
Oh yeah.
But he lost the scream. That train whistle sort of scream he used to have. Like he hasn't had that for, God, I don't know how many years.
A little late enough, you start to hear it's not there as much. At the beginning of A Little Late Enough, he does it, and you're hearing it start to fall off. And then 94, Your Filthy Little Mouth. It was like a whole different singer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like all of a sudden he just reached these different octaves, and that was bizarre. I mean, I remember seeing him live on that tour, and he looked different, sounded different. Just his whole aura had changed. Everything was different. But the high. So if you listen to Skyscraper, even there, he's hitting the high notes, but he's at his peak, in my opinion, on Crazy from the Heat, the EP, and Eat 'Em and Smile. And Easy Street, to me, is hands down his best vocal performance of them all, I think.
Well, let's see if everyone agrees with this statement. Dave was fucking perfect for what this band was.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that could have taken his place? And the idea that Sammy, they had considered him to be the singer because things weren't working with Dave, struggling in the studio, et cetera, et cetera. We've heard the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sammy did not sound like the Sammy Hagar that we know in those days. When he was singing with Montrose, he was still finding his voice. You listen to his first 3 solo albums, it's not until, I'm trying to think, this one, Danger Zone, when he gets to, I'm trying to think of which album where he starts to find it. The song Red is really like, that's the first time he finds his voice. Otherwise, he's still singing like he did in Montrose. So I don't think he would have worked at all on that first album. I think when he arrived in 1985, 86, perfect time.
And they Templeman talked about to Greg Renoff that he was going to get rid of Dave. Dave was struggling in the studio, but then he realized, he realized that Dave had this lyrical flair for one thing, but he also realized that his voice had so much personality, and I felt that they could really make it happen and be perfect for the band.
Yep.
Yeah. Scott pointed out he has a few screams on A Different Kind of Truth, and I wonder if they were current day recorded or pulled from the vault.
Yeah, some people wondered about that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then Tom says, or the only thing he did that day. Maybe he could only muster one scream.
Well, he does manage in that album on, Oh, not Honey Baby Sweetie Doll. Which is the one? As is he does it. As is, I think he gets close
Okay.
to that old Dave's scream. Yeah.
And then Ray says the 81 Oakland Coliseum show has Dave's voice spot on.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Seek that out.
So those shows never recorded, Eric? Like those early shows, they just never recorded any of those early shows with Dave?
No. I mean, those were just specifically filmed for the videos. In fact, some of Noel Monk, the band's manager, said some of what you see there was actually filmed during the rehearsals, where there was no live audience. But Michael Anthony said that they did. Did he say they recorded all those shows back in the day? I know in places like what's that venue in? Boy, I want to say Washington, but I know it's not that. Where they anybody that played there, they would record the whole show, and it would go up on the big screen. Maryland. Somebody help me here. I mean, Maryland. I'm thinking. Hold on, let me see. And all the bands that came through there, Largo, Maryland.
Okay.
Okay, those shows, yeah. So those are pro shot because the venue itself had them filmed. But anyway, yeah, that Oakland, I don't think the whole show exists. I think it was just for those songs.
There's got to be a lot of bootlegs out there, though, right?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Atlantic Capital Center in Largo. That's, yeah. But Stay Frosty has a wicked scream towards the end. Yeah.
And Dave's voice was perfect for the albums he sang on. No one could do it like Dave, in my opinion. I agree with Mike there.
Yeah, me too.
So does Tom. And then Ray says, Hear About It Later has a live video from 1981. I got to check that out.
That was it. Hear About It Later, Unchained. And So This Is Love. Got a brand new Oakland scarf right here, I say. You ever see that? Dave.
All right, let's keep going with Tattoo.
This is the best part, Corey. I love this. This is classic Ed at the very end. It just
Ed's guitar playing was so ferocious.
Away. Yeah,
Ed's guitar playing was just so ferocious on that album. You know,
that's a great word to describe it.
Yeah, it's the fact that was his last recorded work. I mean, it's such a testament that he went out so strong. Like,
yep, he did. Corey, can you back it up a little bit and just play? Because I love that when Ed does that. He just sustains and just
anything for you, Eric.
And then he goes right into starts chugging the riff. Oh, keep going though.
Oh, here I'll back it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because you want it at the end of the ball.
It goes all the way to the
Uncle Danny had a cold tattoo.
Still going.
He fought for the Union.
Still going. And then here.
My shoulder is a number.
That's fucking Ed right there. That's Ed.
On a geek note, do you know what bridge did he have on his guitar? Is that just a Floyd? It's Floyd Rose, or does he have some kind of weird?
Unless he unless he modified it.
He probably modified it, but it might
probably on a Wolfgang.
Yeah, it might be Floyd Rose originally.
Yeah, Because no guitar should stay in tune after that.
No, he does the thing I talk about a lot, man. I'm a big fan of the dive bombs, and he just
I love
off
his
the
dive
bat
bombs.
just opens with the dive bomb, and that right away, your bridge is just by its nature, just bends. And so, there's probably a lot of little guitar tech trickery going on there, and why wouldn't it? It's Eddie.
Yeah, he constructed the guitar that was like just right, but it took him a long time. Just feels right, comfortable. Everything is right where it should be. Yeah, he was tinkering with guitars for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I love this comment here from Jazz because he plays this song. He said the lead is so much fun to play. That's the thing. His shit was fun.
Yeah.
Word.
When he would play live, how often would he switch out his guitars? Would it be every song or two?
Question.
Oh, no, I don't think every song or two.
No.
Might depend on the set,
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on the tour of the set.
Early days, he hardly did it all, didn't he?
No.
Yeah, he usually just played with his Frankenstrat.
Yeah.
I mean, even just thinking, what was even if it was like Spanish Fly, he didn't, wasn't like gonna break out the acoustic on stage. Not much.
I remember seeing
like little guitars that.
Yeah. He had that tiny guitar, right? That he would play for little guitars. I've never seen. Yeah.
That one. Yep, it's on Us Festival when you look at that, And the Us Festival eruption, that solo is my favorite of all the live Eddie eruptions. And somebody pointed out on here too that I think he said the live Summer Nights, or he said the live 5150 from Live Without a Net. Both of those are freaking outstanding.
Yeah.
Summer Nights, such a great song.
Oh, and the live version from Live Without a Net.
Bananas. Yeah.
When I saw Sammy this year, he played, they didn't play it, but before he came out, they played Summer Nights, over the venue. It was really cool.
Yeah, same.
Very cool.
Yep, yeah.
That got everyone
hyped. Right? Hell yeah, goosebumps, right? Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so excited.
Yeah. What a groove on that.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go back in, Corey, so I'm not too sure.
Swapped out a lot of multiple Frankies,
Yeah, different tunings, obviously, on those, right?
So before you go in, Corey, I just want to say, because I think where we come in, we're gonna basically, we've missed a verse, and it's basically, musically it's the same, but I was going to throw over to you, Heath. So we were talking earlier, and you mentioned earlier about Sammy was always very earnest in his lyrics, and this next verse that he sings is so different to the rest of the song. And it's like, Uncle Danny had a coal tattoo. He fought for the Union. Some of us still do. On my shoulder is the number of the chapter he was in. That number is forever, like the struggle here to win. It's almost like a Steve Earle verse.
I know. I'm glad you brought that up, actually, Keith, because I didn't want to take away from all the Eddie guitar talk after that solo. But yeah, I remember when that came out, and I remember all the internet chatter and stuff like that, the social media chatter. People were saying, "Oh, Dave made this political statement, and it was this. He's pro-union, and he made this political statement." And it's autobiographical. I really don't think it is. I mean, if you listen to Dave, he's a chameleon in his lyrics. Like he'll I mean, he didn't go on mean streets either, but he's got the mean street. He's never been the atomic punk either. Like, I don't think that was autobiographical, but yeah, there is a very much a Steve Earle sort of vibe to that, isn't there?
And it's just at odds with the rest of the lyrics. Like and I like that. I like that it's so cool that you get this. The song lyrically takes a big left-hand turn, and he's like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's different,"
And just the idea of the coal tattoo. Like, if you think about what a coal tattoo was, that's pretty. He's really done his research into the tattoo, the history of tattoos here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he did
I love the
individual
Steve Earle
videos.
comparison. That's really cool. Good pull, Kevin, because that is a very Steve Earle-esque verse, isn't it?
Yeah, I got to go back to some of those videos Dave put out on these songs because he broke them down in the lyrics. I can't recall I think he did comment on that part, and I don't recall if it was autobiographical or just something that he read, because that's a lot of what he would do.
Right, well,
read something, see something,
so we could catch that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Had a cold tattoo. He fought for the Union. Some of us still do. On my shoulder is the number of the chapter he was in. That number is forever, like the struggle here to win. Everybody, swap beat salad, tram step tack, mom's wife to mom's shell, and the time it takes to get that new jack.
Look at me, look at you.
Love that.
So good.
Whew.
That's a great outro.
Yeah, man.
It really is.
It is.
That was awesome.
Cool.
There you have it, Tattoo, the first single off of this album.
The Ric Flair, woo!
Very good call. Very good call. So, there you have it. We've done our first song of the evening. So now comes the part where we all get to vote on how we feel about Tattoo. I know it just ended, so there's a lot to process, but I think for the most part, we were all familiar. I know I'm getting more familiar with the song. I haven't heard it since the first time. Scott, this I think might have been your first time hearing this song?
Very first time. I'm more familiar with it now than when we started.
Well, there you go. Well, no pressure whatsoever, but you guys know how this works. Just give old Corey a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and we'll ask you the question, is this what dreams are made of, or is the dream over? Scott, we'll start with you. Does Tattoo from a Different Kind of Truth, is that what dreams are made of for you, or is it sadly the dream is over?
Well, he's really giving this a
He's
good thing.
thinking.
I'm going to go with thumbs up.
Nice air drumming from Kevin Brown.
Your thoughts on it, Scott?
It was a close call. I hate the chorus of the song. Just vocally, I just hate it. But musically, it's got a good groove to it. I like the riff. I like the simplicity of the backing. Alex is absolutely solid on this song. He doesn't overplay by any means. He's exactly where he needs to be. I think Eddie's playing is really good, especially the soloing at the end. I think kind of saved it for me. So I would say I didn't hate it. I would listen to it again.
All right. Very, very good answer. That's one vote yes. We're going to go on up to Heath McCoy. Heath, is Tattoo what dreams are made of for you?
I don't get the hate. I think it's a great, actually, I like it more after listening to it in this context. I think it's a really solid song. I just don't get that. Clever lyrics, super catchy. Everybody's playing their ass off. I think it's a great song.
There you are. Kelsey, we throw it to you.
I will say I wasn't a fan of this song like when we first started it, and I'm definitely more of a fan now. I actually can kind of groove out to it. Like I said, Eddie always sounds good to me. But I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about his vocals, and I absolutely hate the way that they produced his vocals on this album. Actually, this one on You and Your Blues, on She's the Woman. I don't know if it's the way that he sounds, or the way that they layered it, or whatever, whatever they put on it. But I don't like the way that it sounds. But that being said, I definitely enjoy the song more now that we're done. Now that we've listened to it together and discussed it. So,
all right, good call, Eric Sinich. How about you? Do I even have to ask?
Hold on, I'm calling my lawyer.
That was dirty pool, man. That was dirty pool.
I know the poor guy's got COVID. I'm sorry.
I'm running out of gas. I'm like,
mean as hell.
Oh man, yeah. I can't listen. It's a great song. I prefer the high energy, in your face kind of Van Halen that we know and love, and especially on this album, Bullet Head and She's the Woman in Chinatown. But having said that, it's a good tune, man. It's got a great groove, and Eddie's doing his thing, and Dave's he's in his zone. He's got some great lyrics on it. Can't complain. Again, I just wouldn't have picked it as a first single. That's all. But good tune.
Well, there we go. 4 for 4 so far. Will the X Factor come from Kevin Brown?
Yeah, my thoughts on that. The song, my thoughts on it haven't changed from sort of what I said before, and it's a fairly average Van Halen, just only because they wrote some fucking superb songs, but it's a fairly average song. What I love about it is the rhythm section. Alex and Wolfie just laid down that big fat rhythm. It's fantastic. It's a great groove, like Kelsey said. It's a good groove, and then that third verse just gives it a dimension that I don't really usually listen for in a Dave song. So it's a good song. I enjoy it.
There you go. All right. So, Corey, will you be the one to break the trend, or what say you?
You know, I will echo Scott's comments on the chorus. Definitely not my favorite chorus. It's kind of weird, although I do love the line, "Mouse wife to mom shell." In the time it took to get a new tattoo, I really love that line and how it was delivered. But in that third verse, I thought was really great too. It's the rhythm section that saves it for me. I am missing a little Alex. He's been known as we've been doing the show, Mark. We pointed out a lot. He puts little accents in when Eddie's doing his solo, right? Little thing with the cymbals, maybe a little thing with the hat, just something a little different to kind of stand out. He didn't do that on this track. I was kind of missing that. I agree with Eric totally. It's a good song. Definitely wouldn't have picked this as the first single, though. I'm so partial to "She's the Woman" as a single. But
I mean, just out of the gate, Dave's back, first album.
Yeah,
Van Halen album that he's on since 1984.
Tattoo. It's like, oh, really?
Oh, it should have been "She's the Woman." I think most people think
She's a Woman would have been. Yeah.
Chinatown would have been great. You
know, I mean,
Blood
and Fire
energy
just
on
to
a
me.
song like Big River. Like Big River, he had this big energy on, and it just wasn't on this track. But definitely,
Blood and Fire
Blood
and Fire is about the band, what they went through, and we're back.
And such a good hook too on that song.
Bullethead.
There's a vote for Bullethead too. There you go.
Great tune.
And then when Kevin ran away,
I was thinking the same thing. As soon as you heard that, Kevin's like,
I ran out of beer. That can't happen.
Oh, okay.
Nope, can't have it.
All right, so Mark, that's everybody except you. You have yet to vote. You are notorious for being a David Lee Roth hater.
Wow.
Well, that's what the trolls tell us anyway.
I mean, yeah, that is what they say.
Each week it just gets worse and worse. You want David Lee Roth dead? And whoa.
Yeah, you got to burn down his house.
I already said he's leaving forever.
All right, Mark, what is your vote? Is this dream over, or is this what dreams are made of?
I actually can understand why this was the single they chose, because there are a lot of, dare I say, Van Halen isms that you can find in this, especially with Roth coming back. I wouldn't say Roth is at the top of his vocal game in this, because no, those days have come and gone. However, he is not the worst. He's certainly not what he sounds like right now. I know that sounds like a jab, but I apologize. Anyway, lyrically, I think what he's doing works for the song. So, I mean, there's a line or two in there where I'm kind of laughing a little bit, but that's just all in good fun. But honestly, it fits. It fits with what he's talking about. There's a purpose to the song. The solo, I mean, do I even need to comment on the solo? I know I say the same things over and over again, but what do you want? It's an Eddie Van Halen rip-roaring awesome solo starting off with a dive bomb. So I'm partial to that. It's going to be a full yes for me on that one. So I agree with you, Corey, though. A little bit lacking in the Alex department. Not to say that he's not doing anything important, but yeah, he's not. I don't hear a particular thing that makes him sort of. We joke about how when Alex and Eddie play, Eddie's going to do his thing, and then Alex, not to be outdone, is going to go, "Oh, that's cool, but check this, keep up." Didn't get a lot of that. Didn't get a lot of back and forth with the two of them on this one, so that was kind of a bummer. But the song still works, and to me, it sounds like a soft introduction or reintroduction for people to, hey, remember Van Halen with David Lee Roth? We're back. we don't want to overwhelm you too much. So listen to this one. Listen to this one just to get you kind of in the mood, and then you can take the full-on journey with maybe some more powerful tunes that are on the album. And then all I have to say is, at least this isn't Honey Baby Sweetie Doll or whatever the hell it's called. So yeah, that's a yes for me. Clean sweep all around.
I had a thought about the thing about you said about Alex's drums. Yeah,
me too. You go first.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
You go first.
Sorry, man. Yeah, you know, he's just playing like a straight beat, straight groove, pretty much. And I wonder if it's because Wolfgang's there, and Wolfgang steps up. Like Wolfgang's playing heavier and more complicated and everything than usually Michael did, and so you need somebody then to hold it down. Like usually it was Michael that would be holding it down while Alex and Eddie both got to go off, you know. But this time Wolfgang's going off, so Alex needs to keep it more simple, maybe. Like yeah.
I was thinking the same. It's kind of because it doesn't have that big change in the bridge. There's no change of direction, so there's no real room for Alex to come in and syncopate anything or sort of take this weird left turn. So all he has to do is sit behind the beat. That's all he's got to do. It's like, you know, Jim Keltner on the End of the Line by Traveling Wilburys. Doesn't play a cymbal through that whole song, but that's what the song needs. And, you know, Mark, Corey, you always talk about that, is serving the song's really important, and Van Halen does that really, really well. So it's just a song where Alex thinks, all I've got to do is keep this groove going. Let Wolfie sit over top of it, and all I've got to do is keep that groove going.
Yeah. Yep. And it works. You know, this is a perfectly fine song, and I personally understand why this might have been chosen as the single, but I will agree around the board. Is it their best on the album? No. But it's a good song. It's a good song. I concede to it. So,
it is a good
yay!
song.
Happy surprise for me.
Now, for everybody watching right now, I put the poll up on Twitter. What's your vote on Tattoo? We've already had one vote, and this stream is over. So if you like this song,
wow,
get out there.
Mariano's in the house.
Mariano already. Yeah, we got a few votes here for potential first singles. Blood and Fire. That was one was mentioned. She's the Woman. We agree with that one. Also another one for Blood and Fire. What Dreams Are Made Of, Sexy Dragon Magic is going to be the name of my David Lee Roth tribute band. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Should have
called What Dreams Are Made Of for sure. And discussion always helps. What Dreams Are Made Of. So there you go. Tom was kind of ambivalent on this track going into tonight, and he upvoted it. So, and I see already we got another vote, so we're at 50-50 now. What Dreams Are Made Of, and this stream is over. But Mark, maybe we'll update that on show number 2, which we're going to be recording, any minute now.
Any minute now, yes. You are the producer. You tell me when it is time to do it.
Wrap it up.
Well, for show number 1, we're going to go ahead and come to a close. So I want to thank Heath McCoy, Kelsey, Eric Sinish, Scott Haskin, and Kevin Brown for joining us for show number 1. And if you liked what you heard and you want to stay tuned for what comes next, because there is going to be more, stay tuned for show number 2. But as show number 1 goes, that is it for us. On behalf of Corey and myself, thank you for sticking with us for 1 year, and stay with us for season 2. It's going to get even more, I'm sure, crazy and rocking as only we can do. We are, and the podcast will rock, and we will rock you later.
And by later, he means right now.
That's right.
Here we are. We're back. Go ahead and intro it, Mark, anytime you're ready.
Welcome or welcome back, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between. You have joined us for the live show of And the Podcast Will Rock. This is part 2. So if you haven't heard part 1, do us a favor. Just press pause on this and then go back and listen to part 1 so that you're not completely lost and you've got context for the conversation. But as you know, if you've joined us this far, you know how the show works. But if you haven't, we are the show that dives into the catalog and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Van Halen. One track at a time. I am, of course, your co-host, Mark Kamier. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, are you ready to do this again?
It seems like only yesterday we did one of these shows, Mark, or 10 minutes ago, as it were. But I'm having a lot of fun. The whiskey's holding out. We got a slew of great guests. The poll has been voted on quite a bit since I mentioned it was on Twitter. So I can give you some real-time results as we go along here.
Sure.
Automatically, Scott Monroe says, now that we know the poll is out, the cult has been put in its place. There you go. I know John is out of town. He had threatened to jump on the stream here, or at least in the YouTube comments. He hasn't yet.
Yeah,
and
give
actually,
him
in full
time.
disclosure, John pre-recorded something with our friend Jeff Saunders. I just couldn't get the file to work in time for the live show, but we will release that at some point. They kind of did their top 10 favorite Van Halen trivia nuggets. So we'll be putting that right out there. So let's just check out some of the comments from our last show before we introduce the rest of the panel here again.
Sure.
Ray says, thanks, I like this song more now. That's cool. Chaz, Rockers, Rockettes, and Rockets, kind of making fun of your intro there, Mark. And,
Well, that's fine.
what a great time for a special episode between episode 51 and 52. Could only be episode 5150. There you go.
That's good. Damn.
Yeah, well said,
Damn.
Alan. Well said.
Yeah. Very well said. And speaking of well said, we've got a whole panel of guests joining us again for the show that are very well versed in Van Halen isms, more so than Corey and myself. You guys wanted experts, well, we got them. You should be that excited.
Hi,
about
Dave.
Welcoming back to the show, Kevin Brown from the Tom Petty podcast. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm still doing very, very well. I found my beer in my fridge and I'm back and I'm ready to go for round 2.
Yes, beer. Keep them flowing. Author extraordinaire, Heath McCoy. How you doing, Heath?
That's Heath Murphy, by the way.
And if you don't understand that joke, tune into part 1 for context, like I told you.
That's his wrestler name.
I'm doing good, man. Good to be here.
Thank you again. Kelsey, fan favorite Kelsey Van Halen joining us. How you feeling, Kelsey?
I'm good. I'm always, as always, happy to be here.
Yes, awesome. The resident expert and the sickly one, but still made time to join us for the show. Eric Sinich from the Van Halen News Desk. How you holding up? How you feeling?
I'm running out of steam, boys. Hold on, let me just put that right up there. Skull, baby. I'm running out of steam. I got COVID. I might pass away, but I'm going to make it. By the way, I want to get this shirt in there. Sunset Sound. I want to say hello to my man Drew Dempsey from Sunset Sound. Got to check out. You guys ever see their YouTube channel?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
Outstanding.
All the plugs.
Drew hooked me up with a shirt. Yeah, go ahead. Sunset Sound. Just type in Sunset Sound on YouTube, man. It's all good. So.
Keep your fluids plentiful. That's all I have.
I've got them in. What's this mug? Oh, it's a Van Halen mug, by the way, which you can purchase at VanHalenStore.com.
Get your mugs, all your merchandise.
Do you make a commission on those, Eric? Like what?
I don't.
Like your third plug today?
No, you know what it is? I just love Jeff Hausman, man. He's my buddy. He's the man.
We also
That's
have
where I
a
got
merch
this
show.
shirt. Was Van Halen?
Just in case people weren't curious.
No, it's funny, because like Jeff doesn't ask me to do this. I just do it. Man, what the hell?
And
Jeff is a cool guy, man. He's been running. He did the Inside magazine. I know, I'm sorry, but he did the Inside magazine back in the 90s and the VHND. You kidding me?
Oh, Eric really doesn't want me to introduce Scott Haskin. Scott Haskin, how you doing, buddy?
One more thing.
I'm just. You can also find me in the Van Halen store. I didn't say it earlier, but I wanted to wish you guys a happy anniversary. You know, most podcasts do not make it to episode 10.
No.
Wow.
And
So
we didn't we really didn't know, at least from my perspective, we really didn't know if we could really keep it going and keep it consistent. I just know Corey and I were enthusiastic about talking about Van Halen songs, and it seems like on the surface, well, that's easy. We just listen to a song per week and we talk about it. How hard could that be? And it turns out not that hard, because look, here we're still going, and look at that, we have people who actually listen and care. So we appreciate every single one of you, whether you're a new fan, a longtime fan, or not a fan, but you listen anyway for strange reasons. And I know you're out there, but we thank you all the same. So, yeah.
I tell you, and Kevin's about to go on this journey with Queen. Just started this week. The Seaside Pod review coming out. You're spinning a wheel. Which I still haven't seen that check for the wheel rental.
What we basically did was I thought, you know what, I love this podcast, and I genuinely love this podcast so much. So being on it's just a really trippy, weird honor. But I thought, I'd love Queen. I should do this with my buddy Randy. I'm going to speak to Corey and see if we can just literally rip the whole fucking thing off. And Corey said, yeah, go for it. So it's so cool because the format's genuinely so good that you can sort of, all you have to do is plug and play the bits. And if you've got any sort of, any experience with it, it just works because you guys are still the gold standard for it. So, and again, I told you this on Twitter, I told you this in person. You got me back into Van Halen. Like I'd kind of wandered away from Van Halen, and this show really brought me back and made me love. And it's actually made me like David Lee Roth a lot more than I used to. So,
yeah,
miracles can happen.
Talks about him.
Miracles can
Isn't that nice? But still, Kevin, Corey, and Mark, they're going to sue your ass.
Totally.
Coming down the pike.
They can talk all they want of nothing,
Well, I would, except we totally lifted this from Pot of Thunder.
It's true.
We broke
We
down
did.
the Kiss catalog. We just added a wheel. That's really all we did. So.
Yeah.
Corey, you might want to check with Eric, but I think you can find your check in the Van Halen store.
Yes.
Probably.
Everything.
Have you seen the
Van
comic?
Halen store.
It's all over.
Yeah. VanHalenstore.com.
.com, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, last week or 10 minutes ago, we actually did Tattoo from a Different Kind of Truth. Mark, are you curious how the votes currently? We're pretty early into it. Are you curious what the results are so far?
I'm absolutely curious because when we first put up the poll, I think we got a vote within a couple seconds into it.
Yeah,
So how are we faring now?
Right now, we're at 76.9%. What dreams are made of? 23.1%. This dream is over.
Ooh. It's going to be a close race.
I bet you that's because of the episode, because that's a polarizing Van Halen song. I think a lot of people would have gone in and given it the thumbs down.
I'm actually kind of shocked that all of us were thumbs up on it. I expected one or two. Scott especially, because he's a miserable bastard. I thought he would have done.
Now you sound like my ex.
Miserable bastard.
It's such an odd thing. Usually I'm the miserable bastard on this
That's
show.
true.
And then, but Scott came in to take the slack. So for that, we appreciate you, Scott.
I'm here for you, Mark.
Gotta love it. But
When we do the Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited show, I'm usually the sort of buffer between Corey and John Mariano, right? So I felt I needed a role here, and I just wanted to take a little of that pressure off on you, Mark, because I usually get to take pressure off Corey, so it's just your turn.
well, I appreciate it. And as speaking as someone who has been the buffer between Corey and Mariano before several times, God bless you, sir. You're doing the Lord's work, because sometimes there needs to be a buffer zone between those two guys. But they do make
sometimes, yeah,
but they make such excellent podcast content, so it's hard to be too upset about it. So,
But you pissed
absolutely.
Kevin off so much he left. I have to bring him back in here now.
What happened there?
he went on a beer run. Don't worry.
It's so weird today.
He's trying to take my spot on the screen.
Oh shit! Yeah, I am.
There you
Look at
go.
that.
There you
Oh,
go.
no.
There you go.
Happens on a
Eric
live
found
show.
himself in the top row now. How did that
Yeah.
happen? We got to get Kelsey back in the middle.
I was gonna say, I was like, damn.
Come on now.
Now all is right. All is right in the world.
You know what?
Well,
We're just gonna put Kelsey on screen because
Hey!
everyone loves
Part of the
Kelsey.
show, fan favorite. There it is.
Yeah.
Well, if you're tuning in for only part 2, I don't know why you're doing that, but if you tune in only for Van Halen news, you should go over to part 1 because we talk quite a bit about it. Tom says, glad to have the forum talk about the band, keep the Van Halen flag flying. Well, absolutely. We will until we just can't anymore. And then we probably will keep doing it.
You know what? 69 episodes. That's how many
Nice.
songs we have left on the wheel. Then we're done. Then we retire. We ride off into the sunset. No one will miss us.
Oh,
We'll
you
just-
gotta do
No.
you gotta do Dave solo. You gotta do Dave solo. You gotta do Sammy solo.
I have
Wow.
wheels for
All right.
both, actually. I'm trying to talk Mark into it. So
Yeah, spin-off
All the
series.
live versions.
Well,
Yes,
you know,
live versions,
you
yeah.
never know what we're only going into season 2 now. So, you know, there's possibilities and potentials for a 3rd season, for a 4th, perhaps. You know,
69, dude. Okay.
yeah.
yeah, not
That
only
also came
including
into
Bill
my
and
head,
Ted, he's got a dirty
69,
mind.
dude.
So.
It's all up to you guys out there listening and interacting, as well as the people on this panel right here. It's up to you guys. If you want us to keep going, you gotta let us know. Keep us going. Let's see if we want to dive into. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's some of Dave's solo stuff that I'm just not looking forward to talking about.
Come on,
but,
Ladies' Night in Buffalo. Come on.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, Can it just be just a gigolo this the whole time? Can we just like keep talking about
Or
that?
California
Nothing wrong,
girls.
California girls, yeah.
It's porno
Eat 'em
music.
and
You want to talk
smile.
about that?
I mean,
Oh.
yeah, you're right.
Mark, have you heard all of Eat 'em and Smile?
Not all of it, no.
Great album.
So
It is,
okay,
it is a wonderful album.
Yeah.
Not a weak track.
And don't forget, you've got about 83 Sammy Hagar solo albums.
Oh,
so
God.
there's going to be
This
way
is-
more Sammy.
Yeah.
this is true. Oh, you're making a case now, you guys. So
I just
but
want to talk Extreme. Like Extreme 2 Pornography is one of my favorite albums. So
Absolutely.
look, hey,
The banger.
we'll talk Extreme all night. It's just I just don't want to talk more about Van Halen 3 than I want to. Apologies to Greg or to Gary. So we always have to throw that one in.
we love Gary. I tried to get him here tonight, but he's got bingo on Saturday, so he didn't make it.
Damn.
Well, if Bingo lets out early, Gary, please reach
Can't
out.
miss
We'll have you on the
Bingo.
show. Even
got
if
the link.
even
He
if you
might-
just want
he
to
might
pop
pop
in real quick and tell us to fuck off, like we'll happily take you.
Mark and I
Wait,
talked
Scott-
about that. Wouldn't it be
Scott
great to
Monroe,
get
thank
Gary?
you.
We thought because Mike Anthony
For real.
recorded that nice intro for us, we thought we could get one from Gary. Hey, this is Gary Sharon from Van Halen telling these guys to fuck off, and then we'll segue into the intro. So. But yeah,
And we
Scott,
would
thank you
love
very
that.
much. I would have loved your podcast during any time period, but it's been cathartic since Ed's passing, and it was really
Thank
Ed's
you,
passing
Scott.
that kind of spurred us into heading down this road here. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, Scott.
Hell yeah.
You know, when I
all
when I was
a
getting the
great
Uriah
journey.
Heat podcast started, it was right after, or right as I was starting it. Two of the original band members had passed away, and I think it does that. It really helps people deal with that because we're spending that time celebrating the things that they created. And I mean, Eddie
Yeah.
was such an icon that instead of just mourning the loss, we need to just dig into what he did while he was here, and I think that makes the biggest difference. So, I mean, the timing of this couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Scott, I love your podcast, by the way, man.
It's
Oh,
fantastic.
thank you.
You interviewed Mick Box, didn't you?
I did. That was the day it started. Actually, after I interviewed him, I said, before you go, I have an idea I want to talk to you about, and I pitched the podcast, and he just took like 2 seconds and went, "Sounds great," and that was that.
Yeah,
That's when
man.
it started. Yeah,
And that band
Amazing.
is still that lineup they have now is good. I mean, they're
yeah.
they're like huge in it's like Norway or somewhere, like they're playing 10,000.
They're doing all the big European festivals
Yeah.
right now. I know they're trying to schedule a U.S. tour for next year, but they're doing the 50th anniversary that they couldn't do 2.5 years ago. And I think they're just doing that. And then in lieu of the new album coming out, because getting a record pressed right now is very difficult. They're about 9 months backlog. So once the new album comes out and they start touring for it, we're hoping for another American tour. But a lot of the stuff they're doing, they're playing these huge, like whacking outdoors and like, just massive crowds. They were touring
Props
with
to Mick Box, man.
Yeah.
He's
Guy's
carrying
amazing.
that flag. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think they could be could they dethrone the true kings of Norway? I'm talking, of course, about Aha.
Could anybody?
You know
I don't
what?
think so.
Mark, I would, maybe you know the answer to this because I did hear you talking about AHA in one of the episodes.
Mhm.
I was just watching one of the Marvel films. At the end, there's a solo acoustic version of "Take on Me," and I'm assuming it's the singer of AHA that did it for the movie. It's with Ryan. It's Ryan
It's
Reynolds.
Deadpool 2 is
Right.
the one you're thinking about.
Yes.
I think that is him. And I don't know if that's him playing guitar or piano on it as well, but I'm pretty sure that is him, at least.
It
doing
sounds
both.
like him.
Yeah.
Sure sounds like it.
And I also
Yeah.
do not know when that was recorded.
It's
For all I
from-
know, that could be recent.
It's from MTV Unplugged. AHA did MTV Unplugged.
Well, there you go. There it is.
Is that where it's from?
Yeah.
So whatever
wow.
year that was, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Of
I'm
course,
really,
they did
really
Unplugged.
fast at Googling.
Thank you, Captain. You're
That's cool.
dirty water dogs
Dirty
all
water
around, says
dog.
Chaz. No, thank you. And then Mike Green. Here he goes. See, Mark and Corey, dirty water dog.
And of course, they bring up AHA, which is funny because Mark has his AHA tribute band called Uh-Oh. based
true.
out of Nashville. Yeah.
All the songs are done in a heavy minor key instead of the major.
Yeah.
So it's a drab. It's a drab Aha tribute band. That's why it's called Uh-Oh. So if you're into drab, I'm your guy.
Well,
Very
I'm
pensive.
thinking about launching the ahanewsdesk.com, so I'm ready.
So much merch on
A
that.
lot of merch.
We do really well in Norway. It's great.
A lot of aha news.
So many
Aha
orders
news. Yeah.
from Norway.
But there it is.
Hey, we got to spin the wheel again, right?
Yeah, you guys didn't come for Aha talk, although we could do that. But instead, we're going to spin another song. There's the infamous wheel. It is real, as you can see. You guys, we didn't fake you out the first time. And you all have been on the show, so you know. But to the viewers, there it is. And we have, what did you say, 69 songs left?
And did you see what was on either side of Tattoo? It was either Loss of Control or Little Guitars.
I can't even. Man,
I'm actually
you
kind
got
of
good
glad.
eyes, man.
I'm kind of glad we landed on Tattoo, to be honest. Not no disrespect to the other songs, but I don't know. I'm glad we got to do that one because it was a fresh approach.
What's Kevin got going on?
Well,
Hold that up again, Kevin.
Wait, put it back up there.
Kevin, hold it up again.
Oh,
Fuck off. Well, manifest it then. We're at that point in the show where we're
yeah.
gonna
Well,
pick
there you go.
songs
We
again.
got Kevin's manifestation here on the show. We like to manifest a song that we want to hear.
And you can't pick the manifestation that you had last time.
Aha. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Corey. So that's that
Oh, Max says
makes
hi,
me
Kelsey.
have to think too.
You
So-
know Max, Kelsey?
Maybe.
So many people. But yes, before we spin the wheel, let's manifest and try to manifest something different this time. You know what, Corey? I'm going to start with you. What do you want this time around?
Well, you know what? I'm going to pick one that I'm pretty sure Eric's going to take, and that's Humans Being.
Well, you damn it.
Love it. Yeah. God, that song's got to come up.
I would love to talk about that song tonight. So here's hoping Humans Being comes up. Calling my shot.
Yeah.
Eric, what do you think?
All right. Well,
Oh,
let's go with, again, Dance the Night Away.
not
We
again.
said you
Pick
can't
something
do
different.
that. Pick a different one.
Oh, was that the. Oh, I didn't hear you. Oh, my earbuds popped out. That's
Pay
probably when
attention,
you said
COVID
it.
boy.
Does COVID affect you? It does affect your brain, doesn't it?
Yes,
That'd be my
probably.
excuse.
Fuck off. Quit it with the spank.
Spanked. Okay, let's think now. Let's think. See, I might pick one that you guys already have done. Have you done Out of Love Again?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Shit.
Chris L. from Pot of Thunder was on that show.
Did you do Light Up the Sky?
No.
No.
I'm
That's
taking
a great one.
Yes.
Light Up the
Great
Sky.
one.
Yeah,
Good
awesome.
pull. Good pull. Mike
Light
Green
Up the
wants
Sky.
I'll wait. I'm okay with that too. Fuck, that'd be
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
All right. Let's see. Heath.
Ryan, my buddy from Ottawa, says Little Guitars. We almost hit it on the last show.
Yeah, very close. Heath McCoy, what do you got?
I'm torn here between Jump and 5150. The last episode, everybody got me thinking about 5150. I love that song. But Jump, I'll say Jump. Jump was my exposure to Van Halen. It got me to be a Van Halen fan. It was like my Beatles and Ed Sullivan moment. I love it. So I'll say Jump.
That's a good pull. I'm convinced the wheel will give us Jump on the last episode, though.
I was just gonna say, I think it would be poetic that if that, not to just like downvote your manifestation at all, Heath, but I would say like part of me kind of really wants the wheel to hold that one off until the last episode. So I don't know, but we'll see. If we spin Jump, I would not be mad about that. Kelsey, what about you? What do you want to spin this time?
I would love to hear "You're No Good." The way Eddie plays on that song is like, it's literally incredible. That or "Push Comes to Shove." I would love to hear that one too. Comes some kind of like Van Halen that you hear that you wouldn't think it's Van Halen at first. So,
Right on. Good choices
Brian would
there.
like 5150. Here's one. Ray says, "Don't tell me what love can do." That'd be all right.
We've already done that one.
yeah, I was on.
Did we do that one?
Yeah, we did that one.
Great.
Yeah, because I remember how excited I was. I was
Yes,
like, oh my
yeah.
God.
So sorry, bud. Pick a different one because we already did that.
Here we go. Is tonight
All right.
the night we get
Run around. Yeah, there we go.
Be a nice one.
Well, we know what Kevin is manifesting.
Whoa. Just skip it. I might have been joking. I'm not joking because I think that would be the best song to play with this group of people. It would be entertaining. And it's not nearly as bad as people say it is.
All right. So what's your backup just in case Spanked isn't
my
the
backup?
choice?
My backup is And the Cradle Will Rock.
Ooh.
Just for that guitar tone.
Yes. Would not be mad at all. Scott, you got anything?
I do. I'm going to go with Pretty Woman because I want to see how long it takes us to get through the intro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the best part of the song.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
But that's a separate track though, isn't it? Or do you combine it?
Is it?
Because the
No, I think
intro is called Intruder.
Oh,
Yeah.
you might be
Oh,
wrong,
yeah.
But we play it anyway on the show. If there's a musical sort of interlude before the track, we play it. So
Gotcha.
So yeah, that might have to. Oh man, that'll be hilarious if nothing else, just to laugh. To see
Also, in the video, I think the video has Intruder, right? Like,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the whole reason that they put that on the song because the video needed more music.
Right.
Because there was a storyline, there was a whole.
Well, it takes a long
story.
time to pick out which village person you want to be.
Right. So,
Well,
Yeah,
Corey
with,
knows my answer.
Intruder.
So it's like I would love to hear Humans Being, but since Corey took it, let me see if I can manifest something else. I'm not going to manifest a particular track that a certain somebody wants to hear, but she actually wants to be here for the show before we talk about it. So I won't do that one. Love you, babe. So instead, I'm going to manifest. Let's see. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to manifest right now.
Okay, what's the song then?
It's a good one.
Now, from the Fuck album.
They're playing the and the
Oh, you're
podcast
playing-
drinking game. Everybody take a drink.
This is the show to do it. Every time we say manifest, take a drink. So,
Cheers.
skull, everybody. So there you have it. We have our
Skull.
manifestations, just a whole junk pile of awesomeness. But it's not up to us; it's up to the wheel. So whenever you're ready, Corey, whenever the panel's ready, and whenever old Sammy's ready, you just let it spin.
Should I shuffle it again?
Why not?
All right, Eric Senich, because you're not a miserable bastard. Pick your favorite number between 1 and 10.
Well, he might be today because of the
Yeah. Pick a number 3.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, it's almost.
Oh
you didn't make it.
no!
Why can't this
Nice.
be love, Mark? You finally got it.
Nice.
I don't hate this.
So close, though.
It was almost right now. And almost jump. Jump was the other one. Let me bring the wheel back up.
Yeah, bring that.
Either side was jumping right now.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Wow.
Well, that had gotten really fun. But hey, why can't this be love? Yes, awesome. I'm into
You've
it.
been wanting this one since day one, Mark.
I have. And can you guess why?
I don't know, because you like weepy ballads?
Well, I am a weepy bastard.
Because you only have one testicle? Is that
I no, I got them. I
Oh,
got two.
wait, is this a
but-
reveal? I didn't know this. Wow. Hold on. I'm gonna. This is an article for the news desk. Hold on.
Yes,
Mark Meyer has one testicle.
sad bastard only listens to sad, weepy Van Halen tunes and nothing else. That's your headline.
I dubbed thee Monoball.
No, man, this is that prime Hagar era stuff that I grew up on and that I love. And this is one of the songs that I know people are gonna go ahead and complain like too much keyboards. This is the keyboard era. It's that not my Van Halen. Blah. And like, well, that's cool, but to me it is. It's growth. It's evolution. They were trying something different, and by the by, it was commercially successful. So say what you want. Yeah, this is. I mean, we'll talk more when we actually listen to the song, but well, it depends on how much.
Thank you, Scott.
I had a witty comeback to that, and I lost it. So congratulations. Go, Corey. What are your thoughts on Why Can't This Be Love?
this is like our first taste of Van Hagar, right? This is the first single off of 5150, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was top 5, right, Eric?
Top
I think
five,
it hit
yeah,
top five. It was the big single off of this album, and I don't want to tip my hand, so I'm not going to say too much, but I was hoping to spin a big hit for the live show with all these wonderful people on here, and we did it. That's fantastic.
Yes. Kevin Brown, do you have any sort of introductory thoughts about Why Can't This Be Love?
I genuinely think this might be the first Van Halen song I ever heard. I think it's probably the song that sort of made me think, well, that's interesting. And then when I dug back into the band, I said, oh, they're not that at all. Like, because it's so different from pretty much everything else they'd ever done. So I won't tip my hand either, but yeah, it's fucking awesome. I love this song.
There you go. Kelsey, how about you?
I love this song. So it wasn't like what I was expecting for us to get. So I'm super pumped.
Hell yeah.
Not everyone's excited.
Chaz says meh. Well, you might think that at first, but I don't know. Maybe the discussion will kind of give you a new perspective. Who knows? We'll see. Or you'll continuously go down the meh rabbit hole. Heath McCoy, I bet you don't think this song's meh.
I actually don't think of it as a weepy ballad. Actually, I think it's just a solid pop song. I've always really liked it. I think it's one of the best Van Hagar tunes. I probably tipping my hat too much. And 5150. It took me a while to more. For a long time, I thought the Fuck album was the best Van Hagar album, but I actually think the further along we get from it, I think 5150 was peak Van Hagar. I think it's a great song.
Peak Van Hagar, indeed. Scott Haskin, you familiar with this one?
I actually know this one. I don't know the song very well. As soon as it came up, I'm hearing the chorus in my head. So I've never really sat down and focused on the song. So I'm sure there's a lot I'm going to learn as we go through it. But at least I've got some familiarity with this one.
Well, you can't learn about Van Halen songs whatsoever unless you actually have an expert. So, Eric Sinich, I give it to you. Your thoughts on Why Can't This Be Love before we get into it?
I'm a huge fan of the song. I became a fan through 5150, the album. So, I mean, this is, it's a pop song. It was a huge hit, but there's some interesting stuff going on here musically. I mean, there's some cool stuff they're doing, man, especially when you get to the certain sections of the song, which you're hearing Alex doing, and on that scat part with Sammy, better, we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some interesting stuff here musically. I mean, it's, Eddie was having fun making that song. There's no question. This was him breaking free of the chains that held him back for a while. He wanted to make this kind of music.
Well, you heard it here from an expert. Yeah. Van Hagar equals fun.
Yeah, shocking. I mean, I get why the old school fans weren't going to dig it, because if you want that, that hard rock, guitar led Van Halen, this isn't going to be it. But right on, Mike Green. Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go around the horn. I brought up setlist.fm. How many times do you think Why Can't This Be Love was performed by Van Halen? Let's see who gets closest to the correct number without going over. Let's start with Eric, since you probably have this memorized, but what do you got?
Well, all combined, let's see. I'm going to do quick math in my head here. I'll say...
We were told there would be no math. This is Corey just going off.
There's also no editing, so pick a fucking number.
I'm going to go... My number will be 1,000.
1,000? Okay, Kevin Brown, what do you got? How many times do you think this song was performed live by Van Halen?
God, I don't know how many gigs they played. I'll say 600.
600. Okay, Kelsey.
I'll say 2,000.
2,000. All right, Heath McCoy.
Wow, did Van Hagar play that 1,000, 2,000?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Well,
Well, you got to think about how many tour dates they have.
86, 88, 91, 93, 92.
Math.
I'm sure Van Hagar played at every Van Hagar show.
Yeah,
It's great. I'm going to say 650.
650. All right, Scott Haskin.
I think Kelsey might be right, actually. He might be closest.
Wow. The number that immediately popped into my head, not to one up you, Heath, but I'm going with 683.
683. Okay,
wow.
Mark Meyer, what do you got?
They played this song 535 times.
Damn.
All right, I'm going to tell you right now, only one of you did not go over. Mark Meyer is the closest. According to setlist.fm, they played it 591 times.
Ooh.
Wow.
And
Whoa,
by the by, that was a total guess on my part. I didn't do any research.
Yeah.
I swear.
I'm pretty sure that makes me closest. I went
I
over
said without
but...
going over.
Oh, without... Oh, shit.
Without
Sorry.
going over. Price is Right rules.
Price is
you
Right
damn
rules.
Brit.
All right, cheers.
What, Corey, would you have had a guess before looking at the set list?
You know, I would have said probably 400 or 500. I wouldn't have been closer to you. Chaz said 280. He's way out. So
Man, I just thought
sorry, Chaz.
more than that.
And Gary did sing this one on the VH3 tour.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that added to the total. Now, in
Yeah.
total, by 20 different artists, according to setlist.fm, 1,036 times.
Oh, wow.
And that's Van Halen, Sammy Hagar, Sammy and the Circle, Sammy
Oh.
the Wabos.
Oh, okay.
Warren Zevon did
Oh,
it
yeah.
5 times, apparently.
Warren
Really?
Zevon?
Yeah.
Why?
I need to hear that.
Me too.
Wow.
Me too.
How many times did Roth perform?
How many times did Roth play this song? Can anybody guess? It's that,
4.
yeah, it's exactly.
No, was it Sarah? Okay.
Roth
bet
was
it's
not
been
a fan
covered
of the
a lot.
keyboards, I heard.
Roth's not a fan of Sam?
He only did the that little scat interlude. That was it. Because
Yes.
Roth was just like, well, that's the only thing I think I can do of Sammy's. But
Well, the story is he was going to put Bosdy Bop over that.
he's like, it needs more flair, man. Needs more flair. Needs some zoobity bop doo doo bida dashi.
That's awesome. Great, Mark. I know you've been looking forward to this one. Do you want to kick it off here?
Oh, you want me to? Okay.
Give us a classic Kamira intro to this song.
All right, you guys, we are diving into 5150's Why Can't This Be Love, a Van Halen, Sammy Hagar era classic. So take it away, Sammy and the boys.
Whoa, is this up for breakfast?
I know, I was going to say that.
Nice try.
I wasn't going to go there, Corey. You went there.
Yeah.
Well, and
I always like
speculated
that though. I always
Up for
like that.
Breakfast
Like,
is the spiritual sequel to Why Can't This Be Love? They
it
have the
is.
same intro, right?
But, you know, less good.
very much less good. I always like
Very
that
much less.
that heartbeat. You know, it sounds like a heart. Yeah, just a speeding up heartbeat coming out. I really love it.
It's the Godfather 3 to the previous 2.
If Godfather 3 were a steaming pile of shit, it would, yeah.
I
Something
mean, when's
wicked
the last
awesome
time you watched
comes this
Godfather
way.
3?
I just saw the Coppola cut, so it's not that bad. I didn't see the original cut,
well,
so there you go.
yeah, okay.
Sorry, Heath. Go ahead.
I've always been in love with as a drummer. I always have loved what Alex is doing on this song, and I've never been able to get the groove right ever. Like it's such a cool groove, and it's just such a unexpected. And I absolutely love Alex's playing on this whole record. And I had to say something about the drums of this one.
Well, we have a ton of drummers on this panel. I think we can all agree Alex Van Halen, like the unsung hero of Van Halen, right? Like easily top 5 drummers in rock and roll for me.
Yeah, I love that little.
He's 5th and Scott Haskin is 4th. So
You.
One thing I don't know, because I play keyboards too, and I grew up playing keyboards before I started playing drums. Eddie Van Halen does not play keyboards like a keyboard player.
Nope.
He plays them like a rhythm guitarist or a lead guitarist. He just
Right.
The keyboard parts are really hard to play, just because the way you would stab normally, he doesn't. So they're really kind of complex. They're more complex than they sound. They sound like, right?
It'd be cool to isolate just his keys on this.
Yes, it would.
It's fun to follow him as he's playing inside of the verses. Yeah, it's cool.
That's a good point with what you said about the keyboard there. And this song, out of all his keyboard parts, is the most indicative of that. I think actually.
Yeah, 100%.
Very much. Like, yeah.
Was there any reason he didn't use like a Roland guitar synth instead of a keyboard? It seems like that would have been a more natural thing for him to record with.
Yeah, good question. Don't know. Do not know the answer to that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
wonder though,
like
because
the heartbeat on Romeo Delight. Is that the best Van Halen heartbeat?
I'd give
just in answer to Scott, though, I think that like those Roland guitars, they're performance instruments. Right? If you're recording, keyboard players are not going to stand up because it's such a freaking awkward, weird. You've only got your right hand anyway, so I think they're going to sit down, they're going to play. That's what I would suspect would be the answer to that. I don't know. But.
That could be.
Yeah.
They introducing things with Sammy, coming in as Sammy. They needed to reinvent their sound. They needed to reinvent the band. This was the ultimate single they could have come. Some people say it should have been a heavier one, like Good Enough or something like that. I think this was the perfect single to kick off Van Hagar, the Van Hagar era, because it was like a complete reinvention of the band, and it's and they're coming out of the gate super strong with it, and very poppy and appealing to a whole new audience too.
There it is.
Was it a little bit of a middle finger to David Lee Roth because he hated Eddie wanting to play keyboards, right? Was a little bit of a fuck you to David Lee Roth?
I don't know if it was. I always think that Eddie was just going there anyway. Like, it doesn't matter if Roth wanted to jump, you had all weight. I just think that maybe he was even more unencumbered because Roth was gone, and so then he could just go crazy with the keyboards, and that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Because like Sammy said, Eddie had just a ton of music on just cassettes all over the place, and they just pop in cassette after cassette, and then I like that. Oh, stop there. Hold on, rewind. Boop, boop. Then he hears this.
Yeah.
It's just, we got to do something with this. And like he said, as soon as everybody heard it, like Mo Austin and Warner Brothers, everybody's like, "I smell money." It's a hit. Yeah, but it's not a forced hit. It's not like, let's see if we can come up with a hit single here. It's just Eddie being Eddie. This is what came out of him.
Well, and it shows that beauty and simplicity too, because so far we're not hearing like any real technical prowess. We're just hearing something very simple and direct. And when you're transitioning, a major part of the band, like a singer, you have to do something to win the audience over pretty quick. So I think it was a good release because it's a song that a lot of people can identify with, both vocally, lyrically, musically. It's one that you can't help but to tap your foot to or your finger or whatever you're going to do. So, I mean, I don't know the other songs on the album that well, but I would say this was a good choice to kind of introduce Sammy and say, here's what we sound like now.
I know it was bugging Mark for, the wussy ballad he wanted to hear, but this really is a wussy ballad. It's got some backbone to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
Tom brought up a good point there. He just flashed up on the screen how Dave hated keyboards, right? But listen to Skyscraper.
Yes. Just like Paradise.
Oh, and Crazy from the Heat.
Yeah, just like Paradise.
Yeah.
And then didn't Eddie say the MIDI pickups didn't track as playing well? They're better now, but they had issues early on. Is that true, Eric?
Didn't Eddie say that the MIDI pickups didn't track his playing? Oh, you know what? I can't say for sure. They're better now, but they had it. Yeah, possibly. We'd have to look that one up. I don't recall that, but
damn it, Eric.
Yes, you guys down.
Get out.
I don't know. Would that have been
blame it on the COVID?
Would that have been MIDI though? Because it sounds like he's playing an M1 there. That's just a Korg M1 that I think he's playing that, isn't it?
That's what it sounds
they're
like.
Referring back to the question I asked about using like a rolling guitar synth, that the MIDI pickups didn't track his playing on that. Like maybe he tried it and just didn't work for him, so he switched to keyboards.
I think both was trying to get in there, Heath.
Oh yeah? Go ahead. You go ahead.
All I was going to say was that I love that big stop on the drums. And there's a stop, the pause. There's no fill. Yeah. There's no fill in there. He's not doing anything. It's just that wait. And then you come back and it's that little happy. That's just very, very cool. Great arrangement.
Yeah. The arrangement is fantastic on this song. I know. I was gonna say I know I bag on Sammy's lyrics a lot. And this one, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just a pretty simple, straight ahead lyric. But I mean, it works. It works perfectly for the song. You know, it's not clumsy or kind of cheesy like I find some of his lyrics to be, and it's not. You know, and he's not doing he's not overthinking it either this time. It's just a perfect, simple, poppy lyric, and Sammy's great for that sort of thing as a solo artist and with Van Halen. And I think this is perfect for that too.
Is it my imagination, or is the bass drum when it starts with the keyboard riff? Is there a time that it comes in a little bit early? And then the rest of the time it's on time, like dun 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 dun, and then the rest of them are on time.
This is why it's so hard to play. Like
it feels like almost like a swing style, like Ringo would have played it, where it's just got like a little bit of a shuffle or a swing to it.
I can't figure it out, and I never have been able to.
Yeah,
it's just,
that's Alex. Yeah, man, that's the jazz background. That's you hear it in a lot of those tracks. Again, this is a pop song. It was a huge hit, but it's some really cool musical moments in here, man. This is,
It's funny when you dig into any of these big, they're just big we think radio songs, commercial songs, but they're technically proficient. There's a lot going on there that when you sit down and really listen to it and isolate different parts, they're very, very cool. It's not just a throwaway song that's been very carefully arranged and it's been practiced and rehearsed, and they thought, well, if we play it this way, what happens? If we play it that way, what happens? If we bring the drums in here, what happens? Like, it's all deliberate. You can tell that's a very well produced song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alex takes a lot of shit on this album from a lot of people because it was so electric. He had that electric drum sound, and I've heard him get a lot of shit for that. But I think electric drum suits this album so well, and it suits this song. Like, with Eddie's synthesizer and Eddie's keyboards and everything, I mean, it just fits. It's seamless,
Well, 85, 86, electric toms were quite popular at that time, right?
I was about to say, yeah. I mean, it's not like he was the only one doing it. Listen to Phil Collins on Invisible Touch.
Or listen to Duran Duran on anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Chaz agrees. It is a tough song for a drummer because it's not on the beat, and I like that. I like that for a song that's released commercially, for it to have a little bit of a feel like that to it too. Because normally you think it's got to be like right on, so everybody can tap to it and dance to it. But I like that it has a little bit of a throw off.
Yeah, no, there was nothing like it else like it on pop radio at the time. It really stuck out.
It stands apart from what your typical like pop song, even back then, might have sounded like. Which it's Van Halen. They have to stand out.
Mm-hmm. I only found out from listening to this podcast that Alex Van Halen isn't universally acclaimed as a great drummer. Yeah, because I just go try play his fucking stuff. Like, it's if you think it's easy, you go try and play it.
This show has been. I've mentioned the show has been kind of a wake up call for me personally on how I have viewed Alex's drumming. But there are still a lot of people out there that think it was like, yeah, Van Halen's great except for their drummer. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah. I remember years ago
try playing the intro to Hot to Teacher.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You got the double bass, and then he kicks in with that kind of swing groove. Like it was.
Years ago, one of my friends said, he just sounds the same on every song. And I'm just like,
oh, God.
Are you kidding me?
That's not. Like, you're thinking of Lars Ulrich, my dude.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like,
yes.
I'll tell you what, though.
Metallica shade on my live show, Mark.
I love Metallica, but it's true.
It was a lot easier for me to learn the drums to one than it was for me to learn Hot for Teacher.
There you go. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I had one of my old program directors say that Van Halen has the worst rhythm section in rock and roll. Again, I didn't want to get fired, so I just said,
Tell me you don't listen to Van Halen
get out of my office.
telling me you listen to Van Halen.
Yeah, exactly.
Every once in a while, I hear journalists kind of make that claim, like, "Oh yeah, Alex Van Halen is just an unspectacular drummer," and I never like, have you really heard?
You don't like music, do you?
Yeah.
You don't know what to listen for.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's the right. Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
let's keep it going.
Yeah.
It sounds like Eddie also has a synth bass line in there.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, sitting over top. I think it's doubled, right? Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think I figured it out. I could be wrong, but I think he's hitting the bass drum on the of the previous beat. Just
the one
just
and?
on the
Is
one,
it on the
one
and?
and instead
right,
of on
okay.
the next on the two. I think that's what he's doing, but only on that first pass. It sounds like. Then the rest of them are on the beat. So it's just that one measure that throws it off.
And we're getting super drum
So
geeky
awesome.
with 3 drums on it. But
It's gonna happen.
he does that all the time, though. Like, there's so many songs like that where it's like, fuck, the timing's off here. I don't know where. I can't find the count. Like, it's just so, and it's 4/4, so it should be super easy. But he's not playing it where a drummer would play it, right? Yeah,
Right.
Alex does that constantly about
Yeah, that's where he gets you.
100%.
the solo and
Cool.
jump, the break and Unchained.
Oh my God. I used to play in a band, and we tried to play jump, and we literally had to change it because the drummer couldn't play it. Yeah, because he couldn't figure it out. I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
that middle
man, it's
section.
just Alex Van Halen.
Crazy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Chaz brings up a
You
good
wouldn't
point. Ed
think.
did say that. Ed did say that about the Brown sound. It's not his guitar; it's Al's snare. Al's sound that really was the Brown sound. Really is.
I can see that.
It's usually
Yeah.
either the drummer can't play jump or the band can't figure out where the drummer's at.
So both. Pretty much.
It's never the drummer's fault.
Never.
That's funny because I felt that real hard.
You got to think about those Dave years. So much attention was, everybody's eyes and ears were tuned into what Dave and Ed were doing, and then during the Sammy years, it's Sammy and Eddie, and Sammy with his voice, and Eddie just being Eddie. That Alex, a lot of times, just nobody was really focusing on what he was doing there. But I love the I always bring up that solo and jump. That might be my favorite example of it. I mean, here's a pop song, listen to what he's doing there, man. Yeah.
I'll admit to being one of those drummers that in a band that fucked up jump nightly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom
It's part
says
of the
he's gonna be
healing
listening to
process.
the
Thank
entire
you.
catalog and really trying to listen to the individual parts, and I recommend you do that because
Yeah.
There was a young kid who just put up a video, and he's a super talented drummer. He must only be like 9-10 years old, and he did jump, and they just skipped over that part, the solo part, because it's like he's working towards that. It's not like he just sit down and play.
No.
Are there a lot of Van Halen isolated tracks out there?
Yeah, there are quite a few. I mean, yeah, you could find them, particularly with the first album. And I think maybe all of Fair Warning is out there.
But like drum isolated tracks?
Oh, drums? Yeah, somebody just put up. In fact, I found somebody put something up on YouTube on the songs from Diver Down, and did a great job of just splitting everything apart, and where you just hear the bass and the drums. And I did put it up on the news desk, and I was blown away by it, especially on. What was the song? Hang 'em High.
I was thinking Hang 'em High.
And they isolated just, and Michael Anthony too, like what he's doing on that song, but him and Alex together, they just isolate those two together. Look for it, you'll find it. It's on YouTube.
I highly recommend listening to Eddie's isolated guitars too. Like his guitar tracks, it's like life changing. So definitely do that if you haven't.
Outstanding.
I have a new favorite comment here. One of my favorite things about all 52 shows of yours now is every episode of Alex Van Halen Appreciation Podcast.
He deserves it.
I mean,
He deserves it.
yeah.
He deserves it.
If
And
it's not Alex,
he's not going to be the one that's going to go out and tell you that. He's just, he doesn't doesn't want to talk. He just keeps to himself, and he'll talk to some inside. He'll talk to drummer magazines. He'll do articles every now and then, but he's not interested in taking all the credit or being a star.
So maybe he doesn't really hate Sammy. He's just not talking to anybody.
I mean, it could be. Who the hell knows?
Here, no,
He probably
I know we're
doesn't
not
even
talking
have the
about
space
Jump
for it.
tonight, but here's maybe a hot take. Tom says, I like the keyboard solo and Jump better than the guitar solo.
Hey,
I don't know if I disagree
nothing wrong
with
with
that.
that. Nothing
It's a
wrong
good
with that.
solo. Both of them.
is,
Both
yeah.
of them are great solos.
Yeah.
It's literally it's the only keyboard solo I can play.
Word.
What song
All
are we
right.
doing tonight?
We're doing this one. Let's get back to Why Can't
Yes.
This Be Love?
It's not what it takes. So tell me why can't this be love? You want it straight from the heart. Tell me why can't this be love?
All right, Mark, before we
Oh,
get into the stats,
I was about to get into that.
I fully expect Kelsey to sing along when we get there, but Mark, you've been suspiciously quiet during this song. I can see you kind of grooving out there. What do you think?
Which one?
You're Mark.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only Mark here.
I didn't hear you say Mark, so that's why I wasn't sure. Yeah, I'm grooving because this is like a fantastic
banger.
song. It is a banger, and it's a banging Van Hagar era like song. And don't you tell me he can't write lyrics. Look at this. Listen to this beautifulness of what he's singing right now, man. Come on.
Only time will tell if we stand the test of time. That
about
lyric
it.
is mocked quite a bit.
I didn't mind it. I don't mind that lyric.
You
I
can
don't
mock
mind it
it all
either,
you
but-
want.
That's actually hilarious.
But you can mock it all you want, but if you take a second of time to analyze it and then be like, there's beauty in its simplicity.
And he's not wrong.
Like totally, dude, totally.
Look,
Now, I just
me
looked
having
this up.
Only
had a
time will
bad
tell.
time.
We stand.
And you know, listen, on this night we do have to change our clocks back an hour, so I think it's very timely that only time will tell.
Well, you guys do. In Saskatchewan, we don't do that. We keep our clocks the same. But I just looked this up.
Oh, you do? That's
the
right.
Daily Telegraph named this the 8th worst lyric of all time. That seems like
What? Oh, come on.
The 8th, really?
Yeah.
8th top 10 worst lyric.
I remember
Lindsay
Cream Magazine
Lohan
came
has
up
an
with a
album.
As long as Nickelback Rockstar is number one, I don't give a shit.
I remember when that David Lee Roth and Van Halen split up, and I remember Cream Magazine had a whole issue about the rivalry and all that kind of stuff. And I remember them going off on Stammy's lyrics from 5150, and that Why Can't This Be Love was one of the ones they came after.
Disrespectful.
How dare they? This is the man who wrote "Dick in the Dirt." How dare they? Christ.
Dick in the dirt, Mark. Dick in the dirt.
I
I met
say
this
all of
man named Richard.
Look, okay, I'm gonna do a separate show where I break down some horrible David Lee Roth lyrics, and then you're all gonna see. You're all gonna witness.
All right.
No, continue.
Just to piss everybody off, Eric, on the last show we did, we talked about Chuck Klosterman and his list of he ranked the Van Halen songs. This was last.
It was. He put it at the bottom, and he was trying to prove a point by it, right? It was something he wrote in there to explain why it was at the bottom, but
That's ridiculous, yeah.
no. Love this song.
Here we go. Celine Dion laughs at this.
Well, she doesn't write any of her lyrics, so yeah, that's good for her.
Boom.
But see, then Sammy comes up with lyrics like "Mine, Oh Mine," and he's taking hits for that. The guy can't win. My God.
All right, Kelsey, get up to the mic and get singing. Here we go.
All right, that's it. That's all you get.
All right. What is that right there? I've always wondered. You hear a little. Am I hearing things? It's. And you hear something like somebody
Is it a reverse cymbal?
Yeah, from the
Is it-
electronic
I don't know.
percussion. I was thinking.
Probably.
Cool.
It
I've never
sounds
noticed
cool, but I've always noticed that.
I'm going to back
Can
it
you
up.
play
Let's,
that
Yeah,
let's
back it up
listen
a
again.
Yeah, listen to
See
it,
if we
yeah.
pick it up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, that.
I thought they do it
Could
again.
that be
Yeah, it
out?
almost sounds like a reverse cymble, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, a short one though, more like a splash maybe.
But
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
something like
totally.
that is so cool, man. It's just like,
Yeah.
sneak
Cool
that in
catch.
there.
Yeah.
Little flavor,
Alex
yeah.
insert.
Yeah.
Alex is great for that stuff too. Like the little like in Out of Love Again. He's got that ding pop. You know, he's got that
Yeah.
he's got
Yeah,
that little
oh,
weird thing. He does something
yes.
with the cowbell and then he just
Pick
has
almost
these
any
little-
Van Halen song. He's doing something different, like on a cymbal or on a hat or something,
Yeah.
just to mix it up. Yeah.
and really creative.
You know, it's one of those things. So Tom Petty, when they recorded Wildflowers, when they did their org chart for the song, so you write every song you've got, are the vocals complete, are the drums complete, are the keyboards complete, blah, blah, blah. And then the last column on that album was fuck shit up. And so that's almost one of those things where it's that thing of, well, what can we add in just to change the dynamic a little bit and to give it a little bit of extra sauce? And that little reverse cymbal, that's something that's probably like, you know what, that worked really well here, right?
Yeah. Well, Kevin and I praised Stan Lynch when I was on. And Stan did all that stuff with the cymbals too. Man.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Little,
By the way, this break we're going into right now is the coolest. Like the way
Yeah.
the way Alex is playing it, the way just the whole thing. So
Yeah.
great.
Here we go.
I love the doubling and just the noodling of
Yeah.
Eddie and Sammy just going back and forth on that, and then the echo of the
yeah.
that's like look at us having fun and playing together. It's just like anything
Oh, yeah.
you sing, I can totally play.
It's
Great.
like you know what we haven't talked
Hell
about
yeah.
a lot on this episode? We haven't talked a lot about Eddie Van Halen in terms of his guitar playing. A lot of drums, because we've got a lot of drummers on here. We've talked about Mikey. We've talked about, but my God, I mean, on a simple song like this, the stuff that he's still putting in there, just the little detail pieces that he's putting in, just to kind of move the song around and to not let it sit stagnant. That's
While
that's
also just showing restraint. He's not over the top. He's not.
100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But this is what I want to ask you guys. Guys who musicians play guitar. When it comes to solos, there are very few guitarists that when they play a solo, you really feel something. It's because you're so exposed. You're just out front, and every note matters. And a lot of times, even the best guitarists out there, I'll hear a solo, I'm like, eh. But with Ed, it was always every single note was perfectly chosen, and the way it was played. And to me, it seems like the solo is the hardest part. In terms of, again, you're just front and center, and it's like, show me what you got, because it's a song within a song. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that as musicians. Like a lot of times, I hear guitars, it almost sounds like their hand just freezes up when they're just trying to, like, I got to play something here. And it's just like, what are you doing? You don't even
Every
skip
note
the solo altogether.
every note that Eddie plays in a solo is very much purposeful, and
Right.
that comes with the fact that he's the key songwriter here. So like he already knows the structure of the song. He knows this also comes from a guy who is a master guitar player who knows his fretboard. He knows where he needs to go for every particular note, and he's also a dynamic musician with all sorts of. He knows exactly what's going to keep you interested because he's trying to keep himself interested. He doesn't want to play something boring and something that's just going to, fall stale, but it's like, well, it sounds okay with the song, so whatever, it's easy enough. It's like, no. He wants to put a little flair on it because he wants to show off a little bit. It's like he wants to remind you who he is. And the fact is, like, I can do this, and it's like, and I'm going to show you how artistically I can do it.
But but unlike so many shredders from what it came to in the 80s, it's not just look how fast I am, look how amazing I am. It's like everything is meticulous. Everything is soulful. Everything's there for a reason. And it's
like
in a past life, I was a rock critic, and I was surrounded by other rock critics. And I remember some guy telling me at one point that Eddie Van Halen was widdly. It was just like as if he's just.
Come on, give me a break. Wow.
There's no soul there. Wow. That's why I'm no longer a rock critic. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. In that era, you had a lot of guitarists felt that they need to shred. And again, like it's like they're trying to play so many notes, it almost sounds like their hand just locks up. It's like, what are you doing?
Let me tell you, shredding is easy. Like that's just a technique to learn. You can learn that.
Yeah.
You have to be musical to actually make your solos stand out and sound musical. You just have to have that.
Shredding is like an offensive term to guitarists, right? And that's kind of like some of them. Some don't like.
Well,
shredding is like kind of too simple.
It's that because it's like if you're going to call yourself a shredder, it's like, okay, prove it. Because like now, like if you're going to use the terminology, it's like, all right, now you're setting yourself up for failure, because if you don't shred and like prove that you can do it, then
I hear almost like Miles Davis kind of blue type of feel with Eddie too. Like he will let things breathe. He will explore the possibilities of playing less at times. It's not like he's like that whole like the comment he heard, like he's just like it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, and that's only ever non-musicians.
Are you sure you're listening to the right guy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why a guy like Vinnie Vincent never did it for me, because I think Vinnie Vincent is very much just look how many notes I can play. Or Vernon Reid even, right?
That clip of him on stage when he was with Kiss and Paul Stanley's like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But you know what's crazy is, and then Vinny has the ability to write a song like Lick It Up, which is perfectly simple, cool riff. And even the solo in that song, he pulls, but he felt that need to just go off on the guitar. Yeah, that was so funny. Paul Stanley, that drove him nuts.
Well, as it just so happens, I did do a recent podcast on Yngwie Malmsteen. Speaking of shredders,
I was just thinking of Yngwie.
But I think there's a couple different components to it. I mean, one, how comfortable you are as a player.
Yeah.
Two, how comfortable you are with the song. And three, letting the song speak to you in that moment. What is it making you feel? And just letting that come out in your solo. There are guitarists that plan a lot of their solos, and most of the time you can tell. Yeah. But if it's somebody who's just playing in the moment, and I don't know about Eddie, I don't know his stuff well enough to know how he did it, but at least initially, and sometimes they'll do that initially, and then they'll take that and refine the solo to make it more technically sound. But if you're just playing in the moment and letting it speak to you, and you're comfortable with your playing, you're going to come out with something that people are going to feel.
Yeah. Well, that's what, Eddie was really just roll tape, let's play and see what comes out.
Yeah.
That's like Sammy said, he showed up. Yeah. It's like shoeboxes and shoeboxes of tapes everywhere. And Eddie's just like, all right, let's put this one in.
Whereas
he was just playing.
Like Jimi Hendrix, who would say, okay, that's what I played. Now let me layer 10 other things over the top of that so that you don't even hear what I did initially. And I like guitarists like Eddie and like Richie Blackmore, who just, I didn't plan it, I didn't write, I just played it, and that's what you get. Because I identify as a musician, but also as a fan of music. It makes me feel something. And if the song doesn't make me feel something, why am I listening to it?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's that thing, like I was going to just say that, and to build on that, Eddie's always recognized he changed guitaring forever because he popularized and sort of perfected finger tapping. So when everything, followed from that. But what he did was, like most guitarists, and Mark, I'll maybe just get you to back me up on this. Most guitarists, if they're soloing, they follow patterns. They've got certain phrases and certain scales they're going to play around, and they'll change things here and there. But it's going to sound fairly similar no matter what they're playing. Van Halen didn't do that. Eddie Van Halen plays a solo, and the solos that he plays, they all sound different. They've all got these weird little twists and licks and turns and things that you're not expecting. So, like you said, I think it's that thing of, well, how do I feel when I'm playing this? And it was never the same thing twice, right? It wasn't written, and I'd like a written solo. Eric Stewart from 10cc, brilliant guitarist. All his solos were meticulously written, But to get someone like that who can play at that speed, that precision, that tempo, and that rhythm and meter, but change it every time, it gives you a different sort of hallelujah moment, I think, as a listener, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got
hours and
minute
hours
left on
of
this one.
oh, sorry. Yeah.
Remember, there's a
Just throwing
song
another-
we're covering here. Let's listen to a little
I
bit.
forgot.
It's got what it takes. So tell me why can't this be love? Straight from my heart. Tell me why can't this be love? Baby, why can't this be love? Got to know why can't this be love? I wanna know why can't this be love?
Mark, I know you love that vocal delivery there, don't you?
Of course I do. Everything on that Sammy does on this album is just gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Name
I'm
one
with you.
bad track. Well, I guess Inside, but name a bad track other than Inside off of 51.
I like Inside. I like the riff.
Inside's cool.
Me too.
Yeah, the groove. The lyrics are kind of goofy, and it was a goof or the whatever they were doing.
Let me rephrase. Everything Sammy does vocally on 5150 is gold.
I agree.
Musically, Inside was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta love it. Makes
You
you,
know-
think of simpler times.
You talk at Mark, though. I know that you're a huge Sammy fan, as am I. But it's funny that this is the lead single from a new era of Van Halen, but Sammy never cuts loose on this one, really.
Yeah.
He doesn't
No,
get
he
into that
doesn't.
big. He's not into the big sort of screamy Dave Lee Roth can't do this shit range. He's just sitting in the pocket and just delivering something that, again, suits the song, right?
It's true. He waits until you get to the fourth track before he really kind of lets loose and shows you exactly how Dreams.
Dreams, yeah, I'm sorry.
Dreams, yeah.
When he just lets his vocal range just go, pardon the pun, higher. And I mean, and that's a credit, of course, to the producer as well. But I mean, yeah, he's kind of in this song for sure. That's Sammy holding back. Like, think about that. Like, listen to what he's doing vocally in this, which a lot of prime in their 20s vocalists, I can attest to this, cannot do any of those. Cannot do it. Cannot hit his notes. Cannot hit his range. And this is Sammy holding back. So
38 years old.
right. See, I'm not 38 yet, but I'm close, and I can't. I don't know that I could hang with a lot of early Hagar vocal stuff.
Just a baby, Mark.
Though, there is the possibility that he did record more and they just edited it out when they did the master mix. They might have said, this is going to be a commercial release. Let's have it dialed back a little bit more straightforward. We'll save the gems for the rest of the album. I mean, I don't know that that's the case, but there always is that possibility.
Tom is not a fan of the lyrics are good enough.
I mean, I'm not gonna fight you on that one, Tom, but whatever.
All right, I'm gonna hazard a guess here. I'm gonna predict here. Let's everybody on the count of three give me your up or down. I have a feeling I know which way this is gonna go. Somebody might surprise me. Eric Senich, I'm looking at you to see which way your thumb goes. How about on the count of three? Everybody give me your vote. I'm gonna play the sound clip once. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Thumbs up.
If Eric had voted that down, I would have blamed COVID.
Another unfortunate side effect of COVID. I can't appreciate Sammy Hagar.
Can't appreciate Sammy Hagar.
Dude, I have so
Bad
many
taste.
great memories to that song. I mean, like Mark was saying, Simpler Times, and my God, so many Van Halen songs, but that one in particular, just like every time I'd hear it come either on the radio or being in a bar and somebody plays it on the jukebox, like myself.
Yeah.
Well, where did that come from? But no, what was cool is every time I pop it into the jukebox, I always love just everybody in the room was grooving to it. No matter if you're a fan or not, they knew the song and they were grooving to it.
That's the
Love
best.
everything about it. Great fucking track.
Kevin, words on it?
Well, I just kind of feel that we ruined it for Kelsey because she just wanted to listen to the song and groove out, and we just spent like
Sorry,
50
Kelsey.
minutes talking about minutiae of, you know,
Kind of drum geek talk.
boring assholes, you know.
Kelsey's like,
no,
I
I-
don't give a fuck about the snare. Play the song.
Elsie, you have the floor. Speak about Why Can't This Be Love?
Well, I mean, I was just well, yeah, because like I'm like always worried. I have a dog over here, so sometimes she just like barks, and like I would hate. So yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Extra guest.
So just in case, like when I'm not talking, I try to do that. But also, like you guys were talking, and I'm just back here listening. I was listening, like I was chilling, and like I don't mind. I love hearing like people. Because like I know what I think about it. I love hearing what other people have to say and like what you guys break down. And it's interesting what you guys notice about the song versus like what I noticed about the song. And I was just grooving the whole time. So yeah, it was awesome. I love this song. It's a banger.
It is indeed a banger, Heath.
I remember when Van Hagar came out and Split happened in Vegas. I had mixed feelings, right? Because I was a total Roth guy. They were my band. I was so excited. I loved them. I loved everything about Van Halen with Roth. And then they came out with Sammy. And even at the age of, what was I, 15, 16, even at that age, I remember, you know, not thinking like, this is not Dave. This is not Dave. What's going on here? But even then, I was like, this is a great song. This is an undeniably great song. I've always thought it. Yeah, I still think it today.
There you go. Scott Haskin, words on Why Can't This Be Love?
Well, I don't have a dog, but I do have sea monkeys, and they're usually pretty quiet. They're not big enough to make a sound. You know, I dug it. It's a cool song. It's got a good feel to it. I like the keyboard. I don't think it's too intrusive on the song. I think there's a really nice balance of keyboard with the guitar and bass backing it up. The one thing I noticed at the end was that Alex switched to, you know, from the Hats and Ride, he switched to a crash cymbal.
Yeah.
And I normally don't like a lot of that, but I think they mixed it in well because a lot of times it just cuts through the mix and it hurts something else in a song too much. But I thought they balanced it really well. So kudos to the engineer on this one too.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for me, there you go. For me, this song is it's just nostalgia in all the best ways because it helped. This song is one that helped kind of inform my fandom for Van Halen in the first place. So a lot of love there. This song is one of the reasons why I probably have more of an affinity to the Sammy era, and not to mention just from a technical standpoint, vocally, he's better. I'm sorry, he is. But this song in particular is kind of what brought me to the side of Van Halen in the early days before I like really started to do the deep dive. So I will always be grateful for that, and it will always have a special place in my heart. And I mean, what else could we possibly say about it that we haven't already said? But Corey, any final thoughts on? Nice, Kevin. Any final thoughts on Why Can't This Be Love?
Tell you what, I just got back from a bathroom break, so I don't even know what the fuck you guys were talking about.
Tell us why you love this album and why you think Sammy's the superior vocalist.
He is a superior vocalist. He's got a better voice, but
There
I
it
love
is.
5150 is one of my favorite Van Halen albums of all time. Aside from Inside, I can't pick a bad track on it. This and Fuck are my favorite Sammy albums. This is a perfect song. It's a perfect ballad. It's a perfect, it's got a little backbone to it. Love everything about it. I put the Twitter poll up. Currently, 100% What Dreams Are Made Of.
Wow.
Everybody agrees with us so far.
Wow.
So
I've never seen 100%, I don't think.
I don't think it's ever happened. No.
Yeah.
It's great that it's there now.
Yeah.
That's interesting for a song that's, so well known and commercially successful. Because a lot of times, like you were saying earlier, Mark, people just get sick of hearing it and they're like, I don't like this song anymore. And they'll vote it down just because of that. So that's pretty cool. But Mark, I hope by the time the show's over, you'll pick a singer that you like better than the other one. I mean, you're so on the fence. I don't know how you feel.
I know, it's really frustrating.
Apologies to Gary. That's all I'll say.
Oh, here we go. I disagree with Klosterman. I think this song is a good bridge between the Van Halen eras. So yeah, I would totally agree with that too.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do all of you remember when this happened? Did it cut off?
It did.
It did get cut off.
Do all of you remember like when this happened? Like when they split up? Because I was not alive. So so I'm very but like I mean like I'm very curious to hear like what you guys like were thinking and like what this song had an impression on you like when it came out after obviously because like I didn't get to experience any of that. Yeah, so that's what I'm curious about.
We should totally go around and do this because I think this is a really interesting part of.
That's why it'd be an interesting discussion, and I would love to hear it. Yeah. So,
who wants to start?
Who's going to start?
Wants to start.
I probably got the smallest story, so I'll start.
Oh, okay.
I knew who Van Halen was. I knew like Jump in Panama. I heard they split, and I went okay. And then I heard they were getting back together with Sam, and I went okay. That's interesting because I knew Sammy's solo stuff a little bit, and then when I saw them at Monsters of Rock, would have been with Sammy. They headlined in Denver, and we had planned on leaving before they came on, but we stayed for a couple songs, and I went okay, and then we left. So I even back then I was the most medium Van Halen fan ever.
Love.
Kelsey's making us all feel old. Go ahead, Heath.
I was so invested in the whole thing. Yeah, I was pissed. I was so invested in the whole thing. I remember having some kind of altercation with some guy. I almost got my ass kicked over it. I had some kind of altercation with the guy. And I was 14 years old, and he was telling me that it had happened. And this was before the internet and everything. You didn't know. You didn't tell me something you didn't know. And he said that they broke up, and I said, no. And I remember we had an altercation, and he was bigger than me. I almost got my ass kicked.
When someone told me Eddie died, I literally went, nice try.
It was like MTV and Cream Magazine and I think Heavy Metal or there was a Hit Parade, I think was another one. And like if you didn't read the trade magazines or you didn't watch MTV, you really would not know what was going on in the music world at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And the news came late always too, right? Because of the way magazines came out, a month later after the news or whatever, right? Like, yeah.
Or if you happen to catch the DJ in between songs when they announce something, it was not easy to get information back then.
No.
Fuck, we're really showing our age, boys. Wow.
What'd you say, Sonny?
Because for me, like I think I talked about this with you guys the first time I came on the pod was to me when I got introduced to Van Halen, it was my best friend from high school who passed away a few years ago. And I only knew Van Halen as Sammy Hagar because it was 5150 or 0812. And I think maybe 0812 came out on a list. So when I heard Dave Lee Roth, I'm like, oh, what the who is that like? Is that Eddie Van Halen singing? Like, who is this guy? Oh, no. They had a singer before that. Is the way he said it. Oh, yeah, that is like for 7 albums. And he was the guy who started the band. So my introduction to it really colored my the way I listened to Van Halen for so many years. And again, I'll say that this podcast really reintroduced me to Dave Lee Roth and has made me listen to him as a vocalist. And yeah, okay, we talk about that and we say Sammy Hagar can sing rings around pretty much any rock vocalist, bar a few. But you try to sing Dave Lee Roth vocals, they're not quite as easy as you think they are to start. You can sing the notes and you can get the pitch right, but not quite the same delivery. He's a very soulful, bluesy, weird kind of singer because he's not really a singer. He's a showman. He's a barker. He's a carnival guy. He's not really a vocalist. So it brings this different weird energy to those songs, right? So
Kevin called David Lee Roth a carny. Let it be known.
Is that what it is, Kevin? Because usually when I try, it's just like, are those really the words? And I spend more time trying to think of that.
If it makes Kelsey feel any better, 5150 happened a year before I showed up. So,
Word.
So by the time I know, I told you. By the time I was versed in Van Halen at all, they had 2 singers already, and that was because my parents had told me, "Hey, this is that same band you were listening to, just with a different singer." And I'm like, "Wow, okay."
Right.
I'm a kid, so I don't know any better. Other than that, it was just kind of like I don't know who I like better. I'm not thinking of it that way. It's the same band. It's the same. Yay. It would later when I became cynical and kind of a ornery bastard. That was like, okay, now I have opinions about everything, and this is anyway. But it's still Van Halen. That's the thing. Like we say Van Hagar, and that's kind of like a fun little jab in a way, but like it's all Van Halen. It's the same band of a different era. And 5150 was just a sort of wake up call of like, hey, here's our next era. But we're still the same band. Like, it's still unequivocally still Eddie and Alex. You can't deny that. Be pro Roth all you want, be pro Sammy, be pro Gary, like Michael Green over there. That's cool. Good for you. You still can't deny that it's still the same band, just of different eras. So that if there's nothing that we can convey at all in the show except for one thing, let it be that.
Now, before Eric gives the absolute perfect answer to this question, I'll just jump in real quick. And I'll echo the sentiments of both Tom, who said, I came into Van Halen with 1984, so I wasn't emotionally invested in the switch. And C. Erickson, one who said, same as Tom, I'm a Dave Era guy, but I got into Van Halen right when the split happened, and I was too young to really care. I was 10 when 1984 came out, and that was my introduction to Van Halen. So I was 11 when 5150 came out, and I didn't care. I just liked both. I barely remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, much less what I was doing when I was fucking 10. But
Word.
I remember loving like the big three from 1984 and that whole album, and then really loving 5150. So when you're 10, 11 years old, it doesn't really matter. Now, Eric is, I believe, going on 73 years old. He might have a little different perspective here on the Switch. Maybe let us know.
Yeah, I mean, the toupee is good. It's just... there was this idea that Dave officially left the band on April Fool's Day, 1985, and that never was the case. It was never officially announced. It was one of those things where in July or August of 85, Rolling Stone had interviewed Eddie, and Eddie just, oh, by the way, we're looking for another singer. Dave's out. Dave wants to be a movie star. What? and nobody, Rolling Stone never thought to do a huge article on it. I mean, this was the biggest band in the world. So then Sammy shows up at Farm Aid, September of 85 with Ed. And
great performance. One of my favorite performances.
So now people are like, whoa, something's not right. And, and then eventually there's a new album with Sam. I mean, eventually it hits. It's out. Radio stations are talking about it. It's in print. Sammy's the new singer of Van Halen, but it wasn't like it was never official. So for me, I was 14 when 13 or 14 when all this went down. I wasn't into Van Halen yet, so it didn't matter to me. I just remember. Wow, Sammy Hagar's the singer, that's the I Can't Drive 55 guy, right? But I was a kid, I just hadn't jumped on board yet. It just didn't register. And then when I was in high school, my friends were just banging on me like, man, you got to hear this band. You got to hear. I'm like, I know who Van Halen is, of course. I hear the songs on the radio. I know who they are. I know the hits. Oh, you gotta go deeper. Now I have an older brother who had the vinyl, the Van Halen 1 and 2, Women and Children. But that was going to be, that wasn't going to happen yet. I wasn't going to be exposed to the Dave era yet. What I did was my older brother, my other older brother, my next youngest had the Sammy stuff. He had 5150. He had OU 812. My friends had those too, and I remember the summer of 88 hearing When It's Love constantly. And I said, okay, let's give it a listen. And I listened to 5150. And that was the first complete album I listened to by Van Halen. And my mind was blown. It was just fucking blown. Like I never felt anything like that before. It was just a high. And I flipped the cassette over again, played it again. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is amazing. From there, I was just going back and listening to all of the Dave eras because my older brother said, you got to hear this. Drops the needle on 1, and then he drops the needle on 2, and I was like, oh, yeah, man, this is cool shit. But it was like what Mark was saying, it wasn't like this chasm between Dave era and Sammy era for me. It was Van Halen. And look, I wanted Dave back in the band because I love Dave to this day, huge fan, and I loved his solo shit. I loved Eating and Smile, I loved Skyscraper. And I'm like, I know. I just wish I could have been, old enough to have been there during that period, man. And, the nostalgic feeling, or not nostalgic, but more was like a mythology. Like, what was it like? There was no YouTube, so it's like, what the fuck was that like to go to see Van Halen when they were in their prime? And fucking Dave doing the splits off the stages, and Eddie just
I agree.
Fucking fire, But again, at the same time, it was this shit they were putting out with Sammy. I loved it, and then went to go see them live and all that. But yeah, it's odd how, oh, by the way, it was when Dave was out. Because I don't think he ever. My feeling is he never thought that Eddie was going to go full out at an Al. We're going to just go, or we're moving on with Van Halen. We're not. He thought, I think Eddie was just going to do his own thing, do a solo project, not call it Van Halen, which is why Dave made it clear that the Crazy from the Heat EP songs sounded nothing like Van Halen, and that was his whole point. Was like, I'm not trying to get in on that. This is going to be me on the side, and it's going to be clear. It's a solo project, and then we'll just go back to it. He told Letterman in January of 1985, we're going back into the studio in like a month or two. We're going to go back together, and everything's good. And so, I don't think he ever saw that coming. How could anybody expect that? I mean, we had Back in Black with Brian Johnson, and we saw what happened there, but that's like an anomaly. So he had to have been just like, don't worry, I'll do my thing. I'll put together Eat 'Em and Smile. They do their thing, whatever they're going to do. And then 5150 comes out and blows up, and it's a huge hit. Now you got a war going on between the two sides, and it's on. And that was the drama that there was that whole, holy shit, what did Dave say about Sam? What did Sam say about it? And what and then they have these documentaries on MTV, rockumentaries, and they make comments about. It was funny because Eddie used to be like, back with the old singer, he wouldn't even say his name. Like Sammy said, that guy, they wouldn't even say Dave's name. I mean, you couldn't even bring him up. And yeah, man, it was a great time. I tell you, Kelsey, that's the one thing you admit. Like for me, it's how I feel about the Dave era, or even how I feel about the '60s. With Woodstock. What the fuck was that like? I mean, it was Van Halen was it. There was no band bigger than them. You had Guns N' Roses, and you had all that, but nobody was as cool as that fucking band was. The music, it was just apart from everything else that was out there. All these guys, doing all this shit. It was the music powerful, and that feeling of a concert, a Van Halen concert. Oof, man, I got the fucking goosebumps just thinking about it. Fucking hair rising up.
The summer of 1984.
When the lights go down, and you hear Alex, and then all of a sudden, where is he? Oh, and you hear fucking Ed come out with that guitar. You're like, holy shit! And it was like when they came to town, it was like the whole town shut down. It's like, we're going to see it. It was insane. So when it all went to shit in the late 90s, that was like, this isn't happening. This is not this is so weird. And then people talking shit about Eddie and how the Van Halen 3 album sucks. All that. Wow, what the fuck? And then all those years went by where nothing was going on. But Dave's back. Hold on, no. After the '96 thing, I remember that. He's like, did you see people go ape shit in that crowd at the MTV Awards? And that goes to shit. And then there was this long dark period, and it was like in denial. I got my Van Halen tattoo when they were at their fucking lowest peak. My ex-girlfriend said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want a Van Halen tattoo," and it was like 2004. And the guy was putting it on. He's like, "Oh, you're a fan, huh?" Like I could tell, like he's just like, who likes them anymore?
Wow.
Yeah,
it is respectful.
But in the day, man, everybody that was your age knew who Van Halen was.
Yeah.
They knew.
And that's why it's
crazy
to me, and maybe the other old guys on the panel, this whole divide between Sammy and Dave. Kyle raises an interesting question here. Are there ever any never Sammys out there that eventually warmed up to him in Van Halen? In my experience, the 100% Dave guys never did.
No.
Like, it's so split. It's crazy to me.
No, it's yeah. if you go, I mean, when you look at the comments on VHND, whenever we put up something on Sammy, the vitriol towards Sammy is
It's crazy.
mind-boggling.
Like, it really surprises me.
Yeah.
You know, and then you put something up on the reverse on Dave, and just the hatred towards Dave. I mean, and that's been that's the problem with the legacy of Van Halen, is that you've got this fucking elephant in the room that's just like, you know, that's why this tribute can't go forward. It's probably, you know, like Sammy said, Dave probably doesn't want me there.
It could be an amazing sounding group, but nobody will care because everybody will shit all over it before hearing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And think about, Ed has to deal with that shit all the time. And that's why he stopped doing interviews. He got sick of it.
Yeah.
Because like he's just doing what he wanted to do. He did appreciate the fans, but you know, at some point, you know, he's got to try something that he wants to do. I mean, it was really his band. I mean, really, him and Alice started that band, and
it's in the name.
You know, and then when Van Halen 3 bombs, it's like, you know, guys, give him a break. I mean, every fucking great band has an album that doesn't do well. Let's relax. But it was so vicious that he just said, I'm not making another album. That's what he, like, Wolfgang was the one who said, let's do an album. Otherwise, Eddie was just like, why bother? You know, why bother?
The frustrating thing about Van Halen, they've been, they should be regarded as one of the greats. And I think in today's generation, so much they're not, or the last couple generations, I think, and it's because they've really done a crappy job of being crappy caretakers of their legacy. No?
Yeah.
Well, again, there's no Brian May and Roger Taylor with Queen, right? There's no
exactly. There's no Jimmy Page like there is in Zeppelin, who always keeps it alive.
Well, Jimmy Page is another.
Yeah. Corey, we talked about this the other night, right?
We did, yeah.
But legacy, absolutely, yeah.
And you know, that's the thing. The argument is you could look at it, I guess, two different ways. There are people that just get pissed off at that, like, come on, Al, you know, what are you doing, man? Let's go out, you know, go out there and do re-releases and box sets and do this and do that. But if he doesn't want it, he doesn't want it. I mean, it's really up to us, the fans, to keep the legacy going. It's shows like this. It's, you know, it's sharing the music with other people. And the night that Eddie died, I remember this kid was. I went downtown and I went for a walk, and there's this kid on a bike. He must have been like 13 years old, and he's playing Van Halen music, just blasting it. And I don't know if it's the first time he was ever listening because Eddie died. Now he's, you know, the interest is there, but you know, that's the shit. This music won't die, but yeah, you're right. I mean, there will be no We Will Rock You movie. There will be no. That's the problem. You can't have, like, if you have a fucking tribute like Taylor Hawkins or what they did for Freddie Mercury when he died, you know. Yeah. Can you imagine what it's going to feel like if it ever happens, when you get that, like, just the whole crowd. Say they're playing at who knows, play somewhere like, you know, in LA, you know, where they're home in California. Like the whole stadium just screaming, chanting Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie. At the end, you know, everybody's up there. Big picture of Ed. Fucking tears will be coming down my face, you know? Eddie.
Everybody's face.
You know?
Streaming down my face at the Wembley show, the Taylor Hawkins, when Wolf got up there and played those 3 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, do we want it? Yeah. But
I like this comment here, as if Sammy held the band hostage and forced Eddie to play keyboards and only write
Exactly.
Yeah. Van Halen bros played. So imagine him, Sammy Hagar, with a gun to Alex Van Halen, said, "You got to play electric tom,
right?
And you got to play keyboard, and let's fucking go." No, that didn't.
Well, Sammy said that. He goes, "These are the songs that were brought to me."
Exactly. Yeah, he didn't write the music.
Yeah.
Well, and too, I mean, it's fair to say that every time you change out a band member of any position, they're going to bring an influence and a slight change in the music.
Yeah.
You know, when Steve Morse joined Deep Purple, they started doing things in odd time signatures because Richie was like a 4/4 guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that one influence changed the music. So they get a different singer. They go, this is the sound that we're going to have. And they write in you know, observance of that, it's going to change the way that they write the music. Those things are just very natural progressions. And the problem with the fans is that they expect the band to always be exactly the same. They don't want them to grow. They don't want them to experiment. I like this album. That's what I always want this band to do. And they can't reproduce the same thing album after album. It's just going to happen. But a lot of people, they just can't handle that. And then they find reasons to start picking the band apart, or it's because this guy came into the band, so he's the problem. It isn't the fighting that led to the first breakup, like that caused the band to split in the first place. It's the new guy. Because they changed direction, and it's very unfair to the musicians, and it's very unfair to the fans themselves, because they're not being open-minded to giving the new music a chance, because they've got that preconceived, it's not what I wanted it to be, so I'm not going to like it. And the band's already fighting an uphill battle with those people.
That's a really good point. I'm going to give you the middle square now.
Nice.
I'm bumping Kevin down to the bottom. He's not contributing enough.
Oh, fuck.
He was agreeing with me.
That leads to the question: What does that band owe the fan?
Nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
What do they owe? I mean, if you've put in the time to record an album and make these songs, and you worked your ass off, and you go out there, and now that people are buying that product, what more does the band owe you? I don't understand.
No.
Why is it a problem that Metallica makes an album called Lulu with Lou Reed and okay, so it sucks and okay, but why is that? Why is that offensive to you?
It's like why?
What is it they owe you?
Yeah.
Like you almost want to like shake somebody. Like they don't owe you that much. You don't know these people. They're not. You're not. They
don't owe you anything.
No,
they put art out there, and you engage with it or you don't. That's the end of it. It's just that simple, right? If you don't like it, there's loads of stuff by Queen that I don't love. There's lots of stuff by, I don't know, fucking U2 that I don't like. But the stuff that I like, I engage with. That's what you do. You don't say, well that sucks, so that's their fault, and I hate them for that. It's such nonsense.
Or during those years when Ed was in that dark place, right?
Yeah.
It's none of our business. So then the assumptions are he's sitting on his ass all day. We've read all the comments online. Lazy. What are they doing all day with their time? Hey, his mother died. He got cancer. His fucking band blew up. Even if none of that happened, what if he is just going through a period?
Right. Yeah.
In other words, they were just like, literally there'd be comments, he owes us an explanation, or he owes us another album. And what's he doing? No.
You know what? Honestly, if Eddie Van Halen had only ever written that guitar part for "I'm the One," in terms of impact on music, that's fine. Culturally, that guy's a legend just on that one song. So whatever else he chooses to give us, you should just probably say thanks for that.
You got middle square, Kevin. That was a good point.
This was a shy kid who was not walking around like on the shit. He drank to get up on the stage. This is all, he had a lot of things that were going through his mind. A lot of things he was pissed off about, bummed out about. Who knows? But that's his business. Yeah, I mean, it was sad to see like the comments on these message boards as you get into the early 2000s and stuff. And I'm sure that he must have been just like, because I know he did say at some point to somebody like, why bother? I think it was the 04 tour around there with the Sammy, like they wanted to make a full album, and he was so angry, and when somebody's angry, there's something wrong. Like how something like empathy, like something's not right. Like if this guy was a sweetheart of a guy for 40, 50 some odd years, and now he's angry all the time, worry about him. Like something, do you need something? Instead it was more like, let's push him out on stage and let's, that tour with Sandy. It's like, he was a mess. He couldn't even figure out what he was playing. Like some of the songs, and why are you putting him out there?
It's the business. That's the business, though. That's why it's called show business, not show fun, right? I mean, that's the old saying. So
exactly. I don't know.
It just in radio met Eddie on that 2004 tour, and Alex was just apologizing to everybody because Eddie was, really drunk at the time, and like. He'd pose for a quick picture, then he'd fuck off. And Alex like, I'm really, really sorry for my brother. He's going through a hard time. Yeah. It's heartbreaking to hear that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And Alex went through that. He beat it a long time ago. He stayed sober, and for him to see that, the pressure that was on Eddie.
I'll tell you though something. One thing I'll just because I think we need to lift the mood here. What I was going to say was again another introduction to Van Halen for me was Live Without a Net.
Oh,
And to me, rock and roll sometimes gets bogged down in sort of taking itself a little bit too seriously. When you watch that video, that's just 4 men on stage playing instruments, singing songs, and having a fucking great time doing it. And it comes across. That's not faked. They're not putting that on. They're just there playing it and having fun playing those songs.
Oh,
and to me, that's what Van Halen is. It's that band where it's like, this is just fun to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, even Pleasure Dome, even though it's about 7 minutes long or 7 years long, whatever it is, it's still just a bit of fun. Like you can connect with it.
It's all fun. It's the sound of fun. It's the sound of youth. It's I mean, I can't tell you how many times, man, just catching a buzz, getting ready to go out with my friends, and had to hear Eddie's guitar, had to hear Sammy's voice, had to hear Dave's voice, had to hear. And it was
fun is the key word. Yes, it's not show fun, it's show biz, and Van Halen was both show biz and show fun, and that is the kind of show we like to have. Is the fun one, you guys.
Before you wrap, Mark. Before you wrap, somebody left a comment here. I want to see if anybody gets the reference because I do, and I love this reference. Let's see if anyone else gets it. Chaz says you can't have Salamato's Van Halen. Does anybody know what that's from? Because I do, and I love it.
I'm lost.
I feel like I should know this, but
I feel too. But
anyone?
No.
Eddie and the Cruisers.
Oh,
the Michael Pare movie.
Is that a line?
Salamato's Eddie and the Cruisers in that movie.
Salamato.
Well, that's why we're on the Deep Dive Podcasting Network, because Corey brings you deep cut references that nobody understands, but he does, and that's what makes it special.
It's a good movie, but I'm going to bring this up here. On the dark side, exactly. We have a poll up right now for both these songs, and I'll bring it up here for everybody here. Tattoo is 78.6, What Dreams Are Made Of, 21.4, This Dream Is Over, but Why Can't This Be Love, 85.7%. What Dreams Are Made Of, 14.3, This Dream Is Over. We had a tweet from John Mariano. It was me. Happy anniversary, boys. Son of a bitch.
You bastard, Mariano, you bastard.
What was that dude from the 007 movies underneath there? What the hell was that?
I sent him a gif of
that's Happy Gilmore.
Mark said
of the guy that plays Jaws bending a golf club in half.
From Happy Gilmore.
Yes, from Happy Gilmore. That's a threat to Mariano. He knows why. One of these days.
The next Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited podcast we go to record, if Mariano's sitting there like a pretzel bent over his microphone, I'm going to know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say,
John could be here tonight.
One thing that's really cool about like the bands that I grew up with, being like, Uriah Heep, Deep Purple, Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, like going and seeing those bands live now, it is just fun on stage. Mick Box walks out on stage to play with Uriah Heep. The smile is on his face from the time he walks out until the time he leaves the stage, and probably another hour after. These guys are doing it now because it's just what they do. It's fun for them. And I wish we would have been able to see Van Halen get to that point, because I think that as they would have gotten older and, all those arguments and all the little things and all the fan comments would have just subsided, and they would have just been out there doing it because they wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Corey's gone
mad.
mad.
The wheel again.
Want
to go again? I got a third in me. Let's do this thing.
Oh man.
No?
Yeah, I'm in beer run.
It would be that always leave them wanting more, Corey. That's the saying, isn't it?
Good
Good
call.
So on that note, you guys, we did it. We have made it through the anniversary, the first anniversary of And the Podcast Will Rock. We did it. It is done. And with that, Corey and I could not have done this without the support of people, including those on the panel. So please, let's go around the table. You guys, thank you for joining us so much. Tell the people what you got going on. Plug your stuff, anything you want. Who's got the floor? Heath McCoy, you got the floor.
Buy my book, Pain and Passion, The History of Stampede Wrestling. Corey, I remember you said it wasn't available. I found out it's because of COVID. Everything's coming back late from the printers, but it's still in print. You can get it on Amazon. ECW Press, you can get it, and I'm on Twitter, Van Heathen. I'm Van Heathen on Twitter, vanheathen.com.
ECW, man. ECW is good.
There you go.
ECW is cool, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Greg Renoff, I think, is under ECW.
He is in Canada, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we wish Renoff a speedy recovery. Sorry you couldn't join us on the show, but you were here in spirit, my dude. Kevin Brown, tell the people.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Petty Project, on my new thing at Queen Seaside, which is my Queen podcast. But you know what? Just go follow these guys. Follow everyone else on this podcast or on this show, because they're all way funnier than I am, and they're much more fun to follow on Twitter. So go follow Kelsey and Corey and Heath and Eric and Scott and everybody else.
Well, Kelsey, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being our resident rockin' lady. We appreciate you as always. Tell the people what you got going on.
You're
on mute. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello. I told you. You said it's late here. It's past midnight for me. So, but I'm Kelsey Van Halen pretty much anywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. One more thing I want to promote. Right after Eddie died, my friend asked me to make her a playlist of like all my favorite Eddie songs. So I have one on Spotify. It's called Eruption. And if any of you are interested, I can tweet it if you're like curious to hear more Van Halen. So
yes, please tweet it. That'd be great.
Cool.
There you go. Do that. That's awesome. Scott, what do you got going on?
Oh, man. Okay. Well, the easiest place to find me is probably my website, scotthaskin.com. My website will be getting a huge update tomorrow, but currently I have a book trilogy coming out later this month. My band Era Patches, our album just got released this week, ARAPACIS. It's on Bandcamp now, will be coming out in CD shortly. And my podcast, Uriah Heep, the Magicians podcast, and also the Haskincast podcast. So I'm all over the place, but the hub for everything is the website.
Hell yeah. Websites. That's good. Remember that, Corey. Website. Remember that. I'm saying that for both of us in case. But Eric Senich, always a pleasure, sir. Please let the people know where they can find you and everything you got going on.
I get to plug again.
Yes, more plugging.
Bookedonrock.com is the podcast, and just recorded a new episode this morning, up to episode number 91 right now, and just having so much fun doing it. And I did have Mr. Kevin Brown on episode 89. We talked about the legacy of Tom Petty, the man Tom Petty. So bookedonrock.com, that's BOOKED on rock.com. And of course, VHND.com for all the latest Van Halen related news. And the Van Halen store.
There it is.
Van Halen store.
The what now?
That's right.
What types of things? What kind of thing can you buy there, Eric? Is there something like a product you chose? Oh, there we go.
You could get a mouse. What else can I tell you here? Oh, look at the clock. Hey, Oh, there you go. Yeah, nice. I got two of those little
stocking
Funkos.
stuffers.
Two of those little Funkos. And look, the clock. Yeah, come on. Anyway, Christmas is coming up. Get some cool stuff. But anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I love the podcast, and you guys have been great to me. And honestly, I don't think there's been an episode where you haven't given the news desk some love. The opening segment, you do some news, and you read what's happening over at the VHND. So we appreciate that.
We appreciate you guys and everything, all of you, and very much appreciate you guys being a part of the show, being on the panel, that we actually had a panel to do this again, a whole year. It doesn't seem like it seems like we haven't been doing this that long, Corey, but here we are 1 year later.
That's right.
Hey, Corey, let the people know where they can find all of the stuff we got going on and yourself.
www.podcastwillrock.com. Get some merch. We just sold our first Cult of Mariano shirt last night.
Oh, that's
I'm a
great.
little afraid. I'm glad I'm going to get $1.80 off that sale, though, so that's good. They can follow us on Twitter, Podcast Will Rock. Now on YouTube, maybe we'll add some more stuff. I'm already planning, Mark, the next live show. I'm thinking we get the DLR Cast boys and we get the new Sammy Hagar podcast boys on a live show, and we just let them fight it out.
I mean, I'd pay money to see that. I'm sure some other people would as well.
Just let him go.
Just
You
let
don't even have
him
to
go.
do anything.
We're gonna sit back, but you can find me enjoying Kelsey's Twitter feed. She's a big Minnesota Wild fan. As a Detroit Red Wing fan, I'm okay with that. They got a pretty good team this year. I'm a big fan of Heath McCoy's
Bruins.
Kevin Brown, I was very honored to actually be on his show coming up soon, the Tom Petty Project. I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. He's got a big event that he didn't mention coming up for anybody who's kind of around the Saskatoon area in the middle of November. Kevin, you got to tell us about it.
Oh,
yeah. So Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers have released a live album from their 20-date residency at the Fillmore in 1997. So it's kind of a big deal with fans because everyone knew that thing got recorded, but they've been sitting in the vault since then and was like, will they release it? Won't they? Well, finally they've put it together and they've released it in different packages. And so the fan club through Facebook decided to say, well, let's do some hosting parties in different cities around the world. And I put my name in and I got selected. So we're hosting a listening party a week before the album is released, which is super cool. I can't wait to do
awesome.
it. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now, if you guys all want to fly in, I've got a private chartered jet. It's gonna come pick you up on the 16th.
Wow.
And details will be in the mail. So
But I highly recommend you listen to the Tom Petty Project. It's one of my favorite podcasts. And I can't believe that you do a show like on your own. I couldn't imagine doing a podcast by myself because I stink so bad. That's why I need Mark as kind of the ringer to help carry me through these things. The fact you carry it by yourself, Kevin, for the most part, is supremely impressive to me. I love your show. I can't wait for Seaside Pod Review. Eric Senich does the fantastic Booked on Rock podcast. My invite to be on that show, I think, must have went to my spam folder.
Wait a minute, have I not? Oh no, you guys got to be on, man. We'll do it because I just started that series, the dialogue, where it's you don't have to be on to promote a book. You just come on and talk about your favorite book. Oh, trust me, you guys are going to be on.
That would be.
I had Kevin on
your show, Eric. It's
got
fantastic.
the DLR cast guys coming on, so yeah.
Yep, and Scott Haskin, the lukewarm water to my ice and John Mariano's fire on the Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited podcast.
Love it.
Does that very well. And I just want to say thanks to Mark for sticking with this for so long, and thanks to everybody. I couldn't believe I sent out 10 invitations and all 10 were responded yes. Now the Sean Geek boys had some things pop up last minute. Greg Runoff had the sniffles, even though Eric is dying of COVID as we speak. He still made it on the show. Greg Runoff, I don't know what the hell your problem is, but everybody said yes. And I really can't thank you all enough. And I'd love to have you back on the show just as soon as you're able, because you all did just fantastic work. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And thank you, Mark, for sticking with me for 52 episodes now. And we still got, 69 to go? 68?
Yeah, no, thank you, Corey. You made doing. I never realized how much I wanted to talk about Van Halen on a weekly basis more until you suggested this show to me, and I was like, yes, absolutely, I will do that. So I'm so glad because this has been such a wild, fun ride. Love the band. Love that we are taking this journey together. Rediscovery into the music, if you will. Thank you to everyone who listened in, who if you watched this prior to or not prior, post live show, but if you were in here for the live show, we thank you so much. Thank you to the panelists, everybody. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Mark the Bat. Usually I just talk about nerdy shit and all the musical things I got going on, but that's just kind of what I do. And then if you want to just yell some angry tweets at me, I'm always down for that too, because who cares? It's fun. I get a sick thrill from it.
Fans love you.
I mean, no, I don't get a thrill from it. I hate it. Please don't do that. Wink. But that's the show, you guys. First live one. Hopefully not the last one. We'll see where it goes. We still have plenty of songs to go through, as Corey mentioned. And on behalf of himself, the panel, all of you guys tuning in, we are, and the podcast will rock, and we will surely rock you in season 2.